attorneys are asking the court to take another look at his competency, claiming he has dementia. A hearing for that claim is scheduled for the 23rd of this month, when a judge will decide if a reassessment is necessary. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
The charges have been dropped against a Utah doctor who was accused of falsifying COVID vaccine cards and disposing real doses of the vaccine. The charges were dropped at the request of U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, who said Dr. Kirk Moore was just giving his patients a choice when the federal government refused to do so. Dr. Kirk Moore addressed the public today, saying that he is grateful for the support.
It's been a tremendous ride, and having it end like this is a huge just weight off our shoulders and allows us to kind of continue with life as we had planned earlier.
Dr. Moore's attorneys today said that he never accepted payment for what he did. We will be speaking with our legal analyst, Greg Skordas, at 12:15 about that. A man is dead after police say he drowned while trying to save a family member in American Fork Canyon over the weekend. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
Authorities are saying this happened on Saturday night on Silver Lake Flat Reservoir. The Utah County Sheriff's Office says the 911 call came in at about 7 o'clock from someone saying a 31-year-old man went under the water and did not resurface. Search and rescue crews eventually recovered his body about 3 hours later.
Utah County Sheriff's Office says the man was paddleboarding out to save a 12-year-old girl and his family who had floated too far out in the reservoir in an inflatable tube. A man is in the hospital after being shot in the head in Roy last night. Police confirmed the man was rushed to the hospital with a gunshot wound and a person was arrested, but that's about all the information they would release. No word on that man's condition. KSL's top national stories. President Trump has announced an arms deal with NATO where the U.S. would supply Patriot systems and other arms to Ukrainian forces. The president also says he's unhappy with what Russian President Vladimir Putin and is giving him 50 days to reach a ceasefire deal with Ukraine, or else 100% tariffs would be imposed on Russian goods to the U.S.
It's got to stop. It's got to stop. But the purpose of this is to say that this is a very big deal we've made. This is billions of dollars worth of military equipment is going to be purchased from the United States, going to NATO, etc. And that's going to be quickly distributed to the battlefield.
The president made the announcement alongside the NATO secretary at the White House and said the U.S. will be selling arms and NATO would handle the distribution. Other national stories KSL is following. There are growing questions over how the federal government handled a fire in the Grand Canyon, which has now exploded and burned historic buildings. ABC's Alex Stone reports.
Arizona's governor is calling for an investigation into why the National Park Service decided to treat the Dragon Bravo fire as a controlled burn, allowing it to burn after it started on the 4th of July, despite it being the hottest, driest period of the year in the area. In recent days, a fire exploding out of control, taking up to 80 buildings, including the historic Grand Canyon Lodge, a gas station, and a visitor's center. Staff and residents in the area are evacuated. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Evacuations are now in place in Sevier County after a new wildfire broke out yesterday in the mountains southeast of Monroe. This is about 15 minutes south of Richfield. The fire has already grown to 700 acres. Kelly Wickens with the Utah Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Land says it's threatening between 50 and 60 structures.
It has grown quickly. It is actively burning. It's in the timber. So in timber fires, we see them grow quickly often when the conditions are hot and dry.
Officials say the fire was human caused, but they have not given any specific details. Crews fighting the Deer Creek fire in San Juan County say around 10,000 acres have now burned and it's still 0% contained. More than 300 firefighters are working the fire from both the air and the ground. There are still evacuations in place for those living north of Highway 46. That fire started Thursday and the cause is still under investigation. All the latest KSL's coverage, Utah Fire Watch, can be found at kslnewsradio.com. There is a special tab right at the top of our website, so you can easily access the newest information on all of Utah's active wildfires. First Look Traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky.
Good afternoon, Maria. Right now, we're enjoying a crash-free commute on all of the Valley freeways. Mostly delay-free, just a little bit of construction slowing. And this is southbound I-15 near Burton Lane, going between Kaysville and Farmington. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
Ever wonder what goes on behind behind the scenes of one of the longest-running broadcasts in history? Discover the people, the stories, and the inspiration behind music and the spoken word in the brand new podcast, Behind the Scenes with Music and the Spoken Word. Join host Derek Porter for a heartfelt journey into the passion, preparation, and purpose behind this beloved weekly broadcast. Listen now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Behind the Scenes with Music and the Spoken Word. Inspiration you'll feel, stories you'll never forget. This Friday from 10 to 1, the movie show comes to Sound Sleep. But first, take time to learn about a better night's rest. Sound Sleep delivers oral appliance therapy that treats sleep apnea without the use of CPAP machines. They're professionally fit, warranted, and covered by most major medical insurance. End the days of a poor night's sleep. With offices from Clearfield to St. George, Sound Sleep will help. Call Sound Sleep at 801-716-8672 today.
Worried about market losses? If headlines are keeping you up at night, it's time to take control. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I know you've worked hard to save. But in times like these, what if can turn into what now? If you're planning to retire or are in retirement, you need a strategy that helps protect your future. At Trajan Wealth, you can capture market gains, protect your account from losses, and guarantee income for life. Right now, you could receive a bonus of up to 30% or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. You heard me right. An upfront bonus of up to 30% or annual growth of up to 10%, all guaranteed to boost your lifetime income in retirement. Don't leave your future to chance. Plan with confidence. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company, DBA, in most states as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
Thank you for joining us for Midday with Maria Shilaos. For the first time in 15 years, Department of Corrections is making preparations to execute one of its death row inmates by firing squad. Ralph Menzies is set to be put to death on September 5th. KSL News Time, 12:08. A young man is in jail accused of leaving a deadly crash in West Valley City and then pretending to be a witness. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
This was a serious crash that happened early Sunday morning near State Route 111 and 5200 South. It was between three different cars, and police say one person died. Three others, they were rushed to the hospital. But there were other people involved, and some of them took off. Police say one young man, he was spotted, but he told cops he was just walking by and he saw what happened. Police say he filled out a witness statement using a false name, but a few hours later, officers figured out his real name was Osvaldo Segovia. He is 20 years old, did not have a driver's license, and they say he had been one of the people driving. The officer also noted that he smelled a lot like alcohol. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
Provo police are looking for the person who lit a playground on fire, causing over $120,000 in damage. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
The fire was discovered Thursday morning just after 3 a.m. at the Quail Orchard Park. It melted a slide and burned other equipment, including the tarp overhang. It's the second act of arson in just 2 months. Provo's Director of Parks and Recreations tells KSL-TV they did not budget for this amount of vandalism, and ultimately it's the children who are being hurt the most. On June 30th, a separate fire caused over $60,000 of damage.
Police are asking residents around the area to check their home security footage for suspicious activity. A new app in the Alpine School District is giving parents a better way to stay connected to their child's school bus.
If you've ever waited at a bus stop wondering where the bus is, Alpine School District hopes the new app Stop Finder puts you at ease. Transportation Director with the district, Andrew Ludwig, says it lets parents see their child's route, get alerts about delays, and even track when a bus gets close.
Parents are trying to plan the logistics of their lives, and I think if we can make busing a little bit more convenient, or at least communicate better, then I think overall it enhances the experience for the kids.
The app is free on smartphones, but you'll need a district invite to get started. Officials say it's rolling out now, heading into the new school year. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. And Ricky, any trouble spots?
We've had a little bit of busy traffic eastbound I-80 between State and 7th East. I don't see a problem there. It's just kind of one of those odd situations where we get a little busy at times. But right now, overall, a pretty nice drive on all the Valley freeways. We do have our work zone causing some slightly reduced speeds on southbound I-15. This is after Kaysville on the way to Farmington, but kind of quiet on the freeways, and our main secondaries had an earlier report of a possible crash with possible injuries in Murray, 4600 South near 5th West. I'm not really seeing anything in that area, but keep your eyes out just in case. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll be flirting with 100 again today. How about a high of 98, mostly sunny skies, afternoon breezes. 73 overnight, then we go to 100 degrees tomorrow afternoon. That would be our fourth triple of the season. Cooler weather expected with a high of 93 by Wednesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny, 93 degrees already in downtown Salt Lake City. Coming up on Midday with Maria Shilaos. Utah doctor that was accused of giving and documenting fake COVID vaccines is now off the hook. We'll talk to KSL's legal analyst Greg Skordas about the U.S. Attorney General's decision to drop those charges against him. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. You know, before I started to lose weight with Salt Lake City Fat Loss, I just didn't realize. I thought, hey, I'm not eating that much. How come I put on so much weight? And, you know, I wasn't eating that much. I just wasn't realizing how many calories were in some of the things that I was eating. And that's where Salt Lake City Fat Loss really helps to educate you. Make sure that when you get into maintenance, after you lose that weight, that you're going to keep that weight off. I've lost more than 40 pounds. I'm in maintenance. This program resets your metabolism to help you finally lose those pounds without all of the stress and frustration of trying to figure it out on your own. It resets your metabolism so you can keep that weight off for good. And I've loved this program because I didn't have to exercise for over an hour a day. Think how great it would feel. Many of their clients lose up to a pound per day. Right now, you can save $200 on the Salt Lake City Fat Loss Plan. You can find out more at slcfatloss.com, or you can call them at 801-450-1882. That's slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
Your electric bill is going to be higher for summer, but not if you get new windows from Advanced Window Products. State-of-the-art double-pane windows and insulated frames, any style, any color, from a company that's been building them right here in Salt Lake City for 39 years. Not only are you buying local, but you're cutting out the middleman because they're the factory. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows, and you get a lifetime guarantee from a trusted local company. If there's a problem 5 years from now, they come right over and get things straight. And right now, you can save even more. If you call Advanced Windows for a quote, they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Advanced Windows offers buy now, pay later. They have 60-month 0% financing. They always work out affordable payments, plus $2,500 off. So get your new windows for summer. Make the call now, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or you can go to advancedwindows.com.
Five guys walk into a JCW's and order burgers. A pastrami, a mushroom Swiss, a guacamole bacon, a hickory barbecue, a ribeye steak, 2 onion rings, 3 French fries, a strawberry, mint, peanut butter, chocolate, and marshmallow shake, and not one left to tip. Because at JCW's, we don't ask for it. We think the price you see should be the price you pay. And all that, would you like to leave a tip stuff, is for the birds. JCW's. Quality and a lot of it. Open in American Fork, Lehigh, Provo, South Jordan, and Harriman.
The power of we believes in you. It advocates for you. It completes your circle. It makes sure you have the strongest circle possible. And with Intermountain Health in yours, you'll always have the care you need to live the healthiest life possible. That's the power of we. Intermountain Health.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
KSL News Time, 12:15. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
The Department of Corrections is preparing to execute death row inmate Ralph Menzies by firing squad later this year, a method the state has not used since 2010. I'm KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
Second, we now know that a 31-year-old man who died while paddleboarding at Silver Lake Flat Reservoir this weekend was trying to save a 12-year-old family member who was floating away. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
We are still looking at a nice and quiet drive on the Valley freeways if you are headed on I-15. No accidents in Weber, Davis, Salt Lake, and Utah counties. Some road work causing some of the usual slowdowns southbound I-15 on the way to Farmington. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Near 100 degrees today and tomorrow. Then a cool down. I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny, 93 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Much-needed defense weapons now heading to Ukraine soon. President Trump announcing an arms deal with NATO, where the U.S. would supply Patriot systems and other arms that would be delivered by Europe to Ukrainian forces. ABC's Patrick Reevell says the president also threatening Russia with tariffs.
There were 2 significant things out of this meeting, right, between President Trump and NATO Chief Mark Rutte. One was this threat of tariffs in 50 days. And then the other notable thing is this agreement that basically European countries and NATO countries will buy American weapons for Ukraine. And what was interesting about what Mark Rutte, the head of NATO, said was it would not only just include these Patriot battery systems, but it would also include missiles and ammunition.
FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino has not made any public appearances recently, and his future is uncertain, amid backlash over Attorney General Pam Bondi's decision not to release more records related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Bongino, along with Trump's base, has been calling for the release.
It's a big issue. It's obviously the political issue with his base, but also the issue with the internal dynamics between the FBI, DOJ, and the White House. This is more than just a palace intrigue issue behind the scenes. This is the top law enforcement agencies in the country, frankly, feuding.
ABC's Catherine Falders. In Massachusetts, 9 people are dead after fires swept through the Gabriel House, an assisted living facility in Fall River, south of Boston. Resident Lorraine Ferrara describing the harrowing moments when the fire broke out last night.
I got back in the room. It was filled with smoke. I went into the bathroom filled with smoke. I opened the window as far as I could, and then I hung out the window yelling, "Help, help, second floor."
At least 30 others were injured. The cause under investigation. On Wall Street, stocks trading is up this hour, heading into afternoon trading. You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. The Utah doctor is no longer facing charges for faking COVID vaccine cards after U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi dropped all the charges against him. Joining me now live is KSL's legal analyst and the co-host of Inside Sources, Greg Skordas. Okay, we all know the political stuff behind all of this. I mean, you have one side that's against COVID vaccines, one side for COVID vaccines. So moving past that, this was a fraud case, right? So was this a legally sound decision?
Well, it was her decision, and legally, I don't know. A jury was about to decide the case, and the trial had actually started. If you recall, Maria, what happened was this doctor had received 2,200 doses of the COVID vaccine from Pfizer, Moderna, and others, and had instead of giving it to people, had thrown it away, just discarded it altogether. And numerous people came into his clinic and paid him a $50 donation to some cause, and in exchange for that, they got phony vaccination cards, which pretended to show that they had been vaccinated, or received the vaccination, I should say. So he was charged with defrauding the U.S. government because he was given this. We didn't have to pay for it, if you recall. The government paid for it for all these Pfizer and Moderna and whatnot, and he received $28,000 worth of vaccinations and threw them all away and gave people phony vaccine cards to show that they had had a vaccination, which they never received.
Mm-hmm. So isn't there an ethical issue here as well?
Absolutely, and you would hope that the Utah Medical Association would do something about it. Whether they have or not, we don't know yet. It seems like the clinic is still going, but the criminal charges brought by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Utah, which were brought in January of 23 and which were culminating in a trial last week, literally after 2 or 3 days of trial, Our U.S. attorney, Pam Bondi, had them dismiss the case with prejudice, which means it can never be brought up again.
Okay, so what are the implications like for future legal matters? I mean, what kind of a message is this sending?
It's a terrible message because the U.S. Attorney's Office brought the case based on what they thought was a good faith basis. Now, certainly he had a defense and he had good attorneys, and it would have been up to a jury to decide what, if anything, he had done wrong. But taking it away from them after 2.5 years of prosecution, after several days of selecting a jury, preparing the case for trial, really had to be tough. I mean, if I was a prosecutor, and I was a prosecutor for 8 years, but if my boss had come to me after all of that work and said, hey, we're dismissing this case for what were clearly political reasons, would have been tough. Hopefully this is a one-off and not something we can expect, but this had to be kind of a gut punch for the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Utah.
All right, Greg, thanks for being with me. And that is Greg Skordas. He's KSL's legal analyst and the co-host of Inside Sources. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
It's quiet out on the roads for your noontime drive. If you're out to get a bite to eat on the downtown city streets, no problems reported there. And if you're on any of the Valley freeways, also crash-free at this time. The only spot of slowing, that's due to road work, and it's there most days now. Southbound I-15 in Davis County as you go from Kaysville towards Park Lane area of Farmington. It's really concentrated more around Burton Lane, but overall, a nice drive in progress. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers, all connected to advanced health care in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, going for mostly sunny skies today with a high of 98, breezy. Triple digits tomorrow, partly cloudy, breezy. 93 mostly sunny skies on Wednesday. Thursday's got 96. We're in the mid-90s for your Friday, Saturday, and even Sunday with partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now in downtown Salt Lake City, a lot of sunshine and 93 degrees. Looking at the markets at this hour, the Dow, well, it looks like the major indices are all up. We'll get a complete update of your money news in just a minute. 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
This summer, Bear Lake Convention and Visitors Bureau invites you and the family to celebrate Raspberry Days, August 7th through the 9th. Join the fun with a festive parade, live music, food vendors, craft booths, and kids' rides at Heritage Park and Garden City. Don't miss the pie-eating contests, bingo, fishing tournament, and of course, Bear Lake's famous Raspberry Shakes. Cap it all off with the sparkling boat-like parade and fireworks over the lake. Then, as the leaves turn gold and the air grows crisp, fall into adventure at Bear Lake. Explore scenic trails, cozy up by the fire, and check out the second annual MMA Fierce Fighting Championship event and Bear Lake Brawl Demolition Derby. Whether it's summer fun or fall thrills, plan your escape today. Lodging, events, and year-round paradise just outside your back door. Visit bearlake.org. bearlake.org.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. 'Cause I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Well, it's officially summer, and whatever you have planned for the summertime months in the great state of Utah, it can be made better with a stop at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Say, for example, you're heading up into the mountains, going to do a little hiking, a little shopping at the outlet stores, whatever it might be. How about wrapping up a perfect day with that perfect meal that waits for you at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse at Hotel Park City? And of course, all of the things to do here along the Wasatch Front, especially in the capital city, whether it's a play, maybe a concert, some sporting event, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse is waiting for you at 275 South West Temple, where your entree will be perfectly prepared. I love the ribeye steak, and it is always cooked to perfection. The side dishes, the desserts, just the way you're treated, the way the servers take care of you. You're going to love your dining experience this summer at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
KSL News Time, 12:25. There's been a dramatic spike in the number of young children accidentally ingesting nicotine.
A new study in the journal Pediatrics says between 2010 and 2023, there were close to 135,000 cases of children under the age of 6 accidentally swallowing nicotine products. Of those, the vast majority did not require treatment. But that's for chewing tobacco. E-cigarettes, gum, or lozenges. Nicotine pouches are another story. Since 2020, there's been a 736% increase in young kids ingesting nicotine pouches like Zyn, and the pouches accounted for the highest proportion of adverse health effects as compared to other forms of nicotine. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Watching Utah's money, stamps are up again. The Postal Regulatory Commission gave the green light to increase the price by 5 cents. Forever stamps are now 78 cents. Airbnb is trying some new features that aren't being received very well, including the ability to hire a private chef to your rental. Wall Street Journal says hosts are not too happy about it and don't like the idea of someone other than the vetted renters entering the home. Movie enthusiasts have been making their way to theaters. IMAX is heading for its best year ever. CNBC reports about a quarter of all movie tickets were IMAX screenings. Shares are up 60% in the past 12 months. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 61 points, sitting at 44,432. S&P is up by 10, and the NASDAQ, it's up by 67 points. The social media account for a popular Sesame Street character went on a racist and anti-Semitic tirade over the weekend.
The X account for Elmo, the furry red monster from Sesame Street, shared a string of posts Sunday that included racist and anti-Semitic language. At one point, it even commented on the sex trafficking investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. A spokesperson for Sesame Workshop said the disgusting posts were the work of a hacker, and the account has since been secured. The posts have also been taken down. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. What's going on, Ricky?
We do have a new accident. It's in Taylorsville. This is a crash northbound, right in that bend on I-215's westbound. It's as you're going westbound to go northbound after Redwood Road and prior to 4700 South Taylorsville. All the vehicles involved are out of traffic over to the shoulder, so you're not going to see any kind of backup or slowdown. Create a sanctuary in the yard with bedding plants from Olson's Greenhouse. Locally grown quality flowers to adorn containers on the porch, beds, or patio. For tips and ideas, visit ogg.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, we're looking at mostly sunny skies today with a high of 98. Afternoon breeze is likely. Overnight, 73. Not much recovery. By tomorrow afternoon, 100 degrees, partly cloudy skies, and breezy. We cool it off on Wednesday to 93. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And a lot of sunshine, 93 degrees downtown.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time, 1230. KSL's top stories. Utah's fentanyl crisis is escalating. Officials say an even more potent version of the drug is now showing up in local supplies, and just a few grains can be lethal. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera has what this means for Utah families and the fight to stop it. Eric?
Maria, the drug is called carfentanil, an ultra-potent version of fentanyl originally designed to sedate elephants. And now Utah leaders say it's been detected in seizures across the state. Fentanyl busts are already surging. Authorities say hundreds of thousands of pills have been seized just this year, but with carfentanil now in the mix, the risk of overdose is even higher, especially when users might not know it's there. Keith Weiss, who oversees our region's task forces, says every bust matters.
Various seizures across the state of Utah, hundreds of thousands of pills seized this year. Each seizure taken off the streets is a potential life saved.
Officials say Utah is hitting back hard with a statewide fentanyl dashboard, a public awareness push, and new laws that give prosecutors more firepower. Live, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
The 15-year-old South Jordan girl who went missing for a few weeks earlier this year went missing again this weekend. But police say Elisa Petrov was found safe a few hours later thanks to immediate search efforts. Last time she went missing, she was found in Colorado. A handful of Utah's reservoirs are now less than half full, and water managers say it could lead to outdoor water restrictions at some point before the end of the year.
There are now more than a half dozen major reservoirs in the state that have fallen below 40% capacity.
They are a little bit lower than they would be on a typical year.
Laura Haskell is the drought coordinator of the Utah Division of Water Resources. She says a big reason for this is how hot temperatures were in the spring, which led the snowpack to melt off faster and hence the reservoirs to start losing water faster.
It was sort of a cascading effect.
And Haskell says for people living around these reservoirs, most of which are in central, southern, and eastern Utah, she thinks some of them could see outdoor water restrictions at some point before winter. Reservoir levels here along the Wasatch Front are still in much better shape, but Haskell is urging people everywhere to focus on cutting your outdoor water use in the case Mother Nature doesn't bail us out this winter.
We're not going to be refilling those until next spring, so let's be careful with what we have.
Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Bryan Head Resort is hoping to expand to 3 times their current size, adding over 1,500 acres of land.
Bryan Head Resort General Manager Tom Pettigrew says Utah's highest resort is often visited by people not just in southern Utah, but all around the state and country.
We'll be able to accommodate, more people on any given day and still maintain the wonderful high elevation southern Utah experience that we have currently.
The expansion would add 14 new lifts and several new restaurants, including their first one on mountain. The resort wants to hear from the public, opening public comment and hosting several open houses in the coming months. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this half hour. President Trump has announced tariffs targeting major U.S. trading partners. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio reports from Washington.
Mexico and the European Union are joining a growing list of countries whose imports will face tariffs beginning August 1st. In a letter to the EU and Mexico posted on social media, we know that President Trump announced that all imports will be subject to a 30% tariff. Both countries criticized the move, but said they wanted to keep negotiating with the U.S.
Financial experts say this will affect consumers, but it will take time for people to feel the impact. FBI Director Dan Bongino isn't making any public appearances, and his future is uncertain amid the backlash over the Justice Department's decision not to release any more records related to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Bongino is a Trump supporter who has been calling for the public release of the files, and many of Trump's base has been outraged with Bondi's decision to keep it sealed.
It's a big issue. It's obviously the political issue with his base, but also the issue with the internal dynamics between the FBI, DOJ, and the White House. This is more than just a palace intrigue issue behind the scenes. This is the top law enforcement agencies in the country, frankly, feuding.
ABC's Catherine Falder is reporting. The final Sundance Film Festival in Utah is planning to honor the legacy of Park City and Robert Redford. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has details.
Along with the standard premieres, lectures, panel discussions, and after-hour parties, Sundance plans to showcase special moments throughout the 2026 festival to recognize the impact of founder Robert Redford. In a press release, officials say Redford nurtured the development of storytellers through the Sundance Institute Labs, the film festival, and beyond. Park City is also getting special attention next year, which again will be pedestrian only on Main Street, celebrating the town's history of launching several iconic films that still resonate with movie audiences. The final festival in Utah takes place from January 22nd to February 1st. Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic. What's happening, Ricky?
We have this small accident in Taylorsville. It's on I-215's west belt after Redwood Road, before 4700 South. It's out of traffic on the shoulder. Ricky Neeson, the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:35.
Peak summer fun is here, and so are peak summer savings during the Utah Summer RV Sale, presented by Bish's RV, July 17th through the 19th at the shops of Southtown. We're bringing you sizzling summer savings on new and used RVs. We're packing the parking lot with smoking deals for every budget. Shop new and used travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, motorhomes, and more. Like travel trailers starting under $119 per month on approved credit. 90 days of all play and no pay OAC. Plus trade up when you trade in your current RV. Get an additional $500 value added to your current travel trailer, or an additional $1,000 added to your current fifth wheel or Class C motorhome when you trade it in. You'll also get a Blackstone Adventure Ready grill with any RV purchase during the sale. And this is the only summer show to feature the entire lineup from Wayfinder RV, exclusively at Bish's. Don't miss your best chance for an epic second half of summer during the Utah Summer RV Sale. 3 days only, July 17th through the 19th at the shops at Southtown. See you there. Based on approved credit, 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Stock number 81734. Subject to prior sale. See the details. Deal number 426B.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Thank you for joining us for Midday, recapping our top local story this half hour. Reservoir levels around the state are falling in the hot weather, and more than a half dozen of them have fallen below 40% capacity. KSL News Time, 12:38. Hot temperatures in the forecast can be dangerous for people with Alzheimer's or dementia. Jim Herlihy with the Alzheimer's Association says those with the disease may not be able to sense their level of discomfort.
And so they may be agitated, they may be uncomfortable, but they really aren't aware of what's happening. So realizing that being out in the sunshine, they may not associate that with the discomfort.
Extreme weather like heat can impair judgment. It's recommended that people with Alzheimer's or dementia be kept indoors and cool with an air conditioner. It's also important that they stay hydrated. A major water provider is playing around with the idea of raising prices. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District is proposing an 11% price hike for the next year. It covers a big chunk of Salt Lake County, but not all of it. Some of the service areas include West Valley City, West Jordan, Sandy, and Draper. Considering the average home price in the area, it could cost an extra $11 every year. For businesses, it could cost $21. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Around 15 cars and several businesses were damaged in Provo when a water main pipe burst over the weekend. The line broke on Center Street just east of Freedom Boulevard on Sunday. Water was restored to the area in less than an hour. Real Salt Lake is at the bottom of the MLS salaries list, but they say changes are on the way. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson has a look at the salary data that was compiled by MLSplayers.org.
The team ranks 28th out of 30 teams for player salaries, but Vice President of Communication for RSL, Trey Fitzgerald, says this is indicative of the fact that the team was changing new ownership to Miller Sports during the first part of 2025, and they weren't doing as much spending. But now the organization is ready to be a little more competitive.
The upcoming transfer window that opens July 24th is something that we're all looking forward to as we look to bolster our roster and make a playoff run for the second half of 2025.
Fitzgerald says normally RSL is in the middle of the pack when it comes to salaries. Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
We do have a small accident. This is westbound I-215 South Belt in Taylorsville after Redwood Road. And as you're approaching that curve in the road before you get to 4700 South, everybody out of traffic on the shoulder, so you're not going to see any kind of backup. In fact, all the Valley freeways are seeing good speeds at this time, including I-15 in Weber, Davis, and Utah counties. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
High pressure centered over Southern California puts us in the hot weather zone. 98 today, mostly sunny skies and breezy. 73 overnight, will recover to 100 degrees on Tuesday, partly cloudy skies and a little bit breezy. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now it's sunny and 93 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. Coming up on Midday, Utah's population growth means a need for medical care. We'll talk to Intermountain Health about what they are doing to expand their services. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hey, gang, it's Big Jim Smith. I am now retired, and I'm a full-time radio listener, and I'm glad I am. I had a unique situation of not being able to refi my house because I'm not employed. Despite the fact that I have lots of income, I have tons of assets, overcoming some hurdles made it impossible to get things together with banks or credit unions. So I contacted a guy I heard about right here on the radio, Rick Kirchenbaum at Loans by Rick. Best phone call I've ever made. Rick and his team at Vintage Lending were able to help me overcome some incredible hurdles, how to verify my income, all the things I needed to do to get my refi together, and they got me more cash out of my house than I expected. Do it. If you have problems getting your financing together, call Loans by Rick. You can trust Rick Kirchenbaum, Loans by Rick, and Vintage Lending. He is NMLS number 241179. Call him directly at 801-809-7283. That's 801-809-7283. Tell him Big Jim sent you. Loans by Rick.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
KSL News Time 1245. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
Utah leaders warn carfentanil, a drug used to sedate elephants, is turning up locally, pushing the fentanyl crisis into even deadlier territory. I'm KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera.
Second, Bryan Head Resort is working with the Forest Service and planning to expand to 3 times its current size. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
Salt Lake City PD wrapping up a crash downtown at 8th South and 5th West in Taylorsville. A small accident out of traffic on the shoulder. This is westbound I-215 South Belt in the Bend after Redwood Road. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Forecasting a high of 98 today, but triple digits tomorrow, then a cool down. I'm Matt Johnson.
93 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time for KSL's top national story.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. More than 20 states have filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration over $6 billion in frozen federal education funds, all for after-school and summer programs and other programs. North Carolina Attorney General Jeff Jackson says families across his state and the country will be impacted if courts don't act quickly.
The effect is going to be massive and it's going to be immediate. We estimate it's roughly $165 million to the state. It's going to result in roughly 1,000 educators being laid off.
President Trump, along with NATO's Secretary General, announcing Ukraine will receive some Patriot weapons sold to the alliance and delivered by Europe. The president expressing frustration with Russia's deadly attacks and says Russia could face more tariffs if a peace deal isn't made in 50 days. Police in Kentucky say 2 people were killed and 2 injured after a lone gunman opened fire at a Baptist church Sunday in Lexington. Police say the shooter was killed by officers. Earlier, police say the gunman injured a state trooper. This is ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. As the number of Utahns continues to grow, so does the need to provide medical care. A new article out today by the Deseret News reports that a number of new facilities and companies are expanding to respond to that demand. Joining me now live to talk about it is McCall Rowley, the Vice President of Finance for Intermountain Health, and thank you for being with me.
Thank you, Maria.
So how is Intermountain adjusting to Utah's growing population?
Thank you, Maria. We continue to invest in the communities we serve, and we really want to make sure that we're providing high-quality health care close to home. So we're watching as the communities grow, and then we're looking to build to make sure that we're meeting the needs in those communities.
Is there any specific type of care that's needing more services and growth?
Yes. What we're seeing is there's a couple areas that are needing higher care and growth. One is primary care, and then also increased cancer care services. So we have a couple of things that we are building 2 new cancer centers, one in Saratoga Springs and one in Park City. And then we're also building a primary care clinic in Desert Color near St. George, Utah.
Are there any specific cities or regions that you're looking to expand into because of their growing population?
So we are watching across the state and across the footprint of Intermountain Health, and we're looking in all of the areas to determine where there's the greatest needs. So we have had over, even just within the last year, we've had over 7 groundbreakings for various facilities. As I mentioned, Saratoga Springs, we've got a multi-specialty clinic, and as well as a cancer center that we did a groundbreaking earlier this year, as well as a clinic within Vineyard. And then we're expanding cancer services within Park City and an ED expansion. So those are just to name a few.
Yeah, as quickly as we're growing, how tough is it to keep up with these numbers?
It is very tough to keep up with these numbers. We have a team of professionals that are working to make sure that we're meeting the needs and that we're looking to expand appropriately. The other area that we're really watching is behavioral health. We have a new inpatient behavioral health unit at Altaview that will be opening in January of 2026. And we're very excited that we have the replacement expansion of the primary children's pediatric behavioral health campus in Taylorsville that is anticipated to open in August of 2025. So we're really excited to be able to meet the growing needs of behavioral health services across the state as well.
I appreciate your time. Thanks for being with me today.
Thank you, Maria.
That is McCall Rowley, the Vice President of Finance for Intermountain Health. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion, and here's Ricky Meese.
Well, crews have cleaned up an accident at 5th West and 800 South downtown. We still have officers working on this crash in Taylorsville, westbound I-215 South Belt. It's after Redwood Road, but completely out of traffic on the shoulder, so no delay in the area. And all the rest of your Valley freeways, especially in Salt Lake County, are seeing a good and quiet drive with no delays. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. We start out near 100 degrees, folks. I got a 98 today, mostly sunny skies, breezy. High fire danger on Tuesday, partly cloudy, 100 degrees, breezy. 93, cooler on Wednesday, mostly sunny skies. We're going to bounce back to 96 on Thursday, mostly sunny. Then a little bit of moisture trying to stream into the state here, going partly cloudy Friday and Saturday, mid-90s. Sunday's 96, mostly sunny skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine today, and it's a hot one at 93 degrees. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets. Both the NASDAQ and the Dow up by about 70 points. A complete update of your money news is coming up next.
Hey there, it's Julie from Logan, where we know how to celebrate summer. First, something super cool when it's really hot. Logan has a new plaza downtown with music and games and a splash pad for kids. Well, I said kids, but hey, we don't judge. Jump in. Free Alive After 5 concerts and movies at the plaza Wednesday and Friday nights. Check out the calendar at explorelogan.com. Keep it cool by checking out live tribute concerts like the Monkees, Elton John's The Rocket Man Show, and the Neil Diamond Experience. If theater is more your style, see the musical Bright Star, Broadway's The Prince of Egypt, or the classic comedy The Importance of Being Earnest. After all, Logan is Utah's heart of the arts. Fresh mountain air is only 10 minutes from your hotel. Enjoy cooler temperatures in the canyon while you hike, mountain bike, picnic, fish, or sing yodelay-hee-hoo at the top of your lungs. Everything's cooler in Logan, and we've got a lot going on. Check out the calendar at explorelogan.com. explorelogan.com.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in experience and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
Tonight on KSL, Utah's doctor shortage is reaching a breaking point.
The longest I've waited is 4 months.
Doctors say they do have ideas to fix it.
That's going to create medical havoc for some people's lives.
But not everyone is on board.
You do find a lot of practices that won't take new patients.
What does it mean for your care?
A crisis is dangerous. Is this dangerous?
Yes, it's very dangerous.
KSL investigates fixing Utah's doctor shortage tonight at 10.
AARP Utah is excited to share a big win for Utahns on their electric bill, thanks to the Public Service Commission's decision. Instead of the original crippling proposal of a 30% increase, your Rocky Mountain power bill will go up less than 5%. AARP Utah wants to thank over 3,000 of its members who stepped up to help. You used your voice and sent postcards addressing your concerns that were hand-delivered to the Commission. You made a difference. Your voices were heard. And thanks to you and other AARP Utah members, critical electricity for so many will remain on. Buildings will remain safe, cool, and the possible hardship for so many has been averted. AARP Utah also extends thanks to the Commission for protecting access to affordable energy programs critical to so many. To learn more about AARP Utah's work and how you can get involved, visit aarp.org/UT. That's aarp.org/UT.
Hospitals urgently need you today. Summer accidents happen from hiking, boating, blading, and boarding. Fortunately, ARUP's always there. Help someone in need by visiting utahblood.org.
KSL News Time, 12:54. Researchers at the U are looking into how air pollution increases the risks of problems in the brain. KSL News Radio's Josue Sanchez has more.
Assistant Professor of Neurosurgery Robert Rennert says this is the first study to look into the connection between a person's exposure to air pollution and aneurysms that cause brain bleeding.
We initially were thinking that there would be a shorter-term correlation between air pollution levels and risk of bleeding, but we were surprised to find that there was a correlation between increased levels of this particular type of air pollutant and aneurysmal bleeding, but there was a lag in that correlation by about 3 to 6 months.
Rennert says while these aneurysms are rare, it should still provoke change in air quality control. Rennert says any future studies will include data from multiple institutions. Josue Sanchez, KSL News Radio.
Watching Utah's money, Ford Motor Company dealerships and others are teaming up to provide more than $1.25 million to Texas flood relief. The money will go to local charities in the area. USA Today reports they're also providing loaner cars to the American Red Cross and a deferred payment option to customers impacted by the floods. Fresh tomatoes and tomato-based products could be getting more expensive. The U.S. gets millions of pounds of them from Mexico, and the tariffs threatened against that country would increase prices by 10%. Utah is getting 2 more targets. They'll be located in Harriman on Southtown Commons Drive and Logan on Main Street. No word on when those will open. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 70 points, sitting at 44,440. S&P is up by 13. The NASDAQ up by 77. If you're still looking to get around for a good summer travel deal, you'll have the option of buying travel packages from other people who had to cancel. There are already a number of websites that offer these packages at discounts from 20 to 90% off.
Websites like SpareFare, Rumor, Plans Change, and Transfer Travel let would-be travelers purchase trips from people who have to cancel their non-refundable vacations. The websites Rumor and Plans Change offer discounted accommodations, but people can search for discounted hotel rooms, flights, and packages on sites like SpareFare and Transfer Travel, especially if you're looking to go overseas.
ABC's Becky Worley reporting.
You bought a house, or maybe you're building one, but it just isn't feeling like home. Not yet. AMC Building Materials has this undeniable knack for transforming a house into a home, your home. How do they do that? They combine years of exceptional kitchen and bath creations with your ideas. In fact, customer satisfaction is their #1 priority. You know what you want. You know it's not going to be cookie cutter, and this is exactly where AMC shines. AMC delivers exceptional quality, bold-style kitchen and bath designs, along with their exceptional value and a timeline you'll love. Most projects are complete by the elite AMC professional installers in under 10 days. Immerse yourself in the beauty, function, and feel in person at the AMC Building Materials showroom in Salt Lake City. Get directions and schedule your free estimate at amckitchenslc.org. AMC Building Materials, transforming your house into a home. amckitchenslc.org.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio. Or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. And here's Ricky Meese.
Crews are still working on this accident in Taylorsville. No delay since it is out of traffic on the shoulder. Westbound I-215 southbound after Redwood Road. You're not going to see really any problem there or on any of the other Salt Lake County freeways at this time. All tickets are on sale now, so claim your spot and start planning your perfect Park City night. Details at DeerValleyMusicFestival.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Our temperatures climbing to near 100 degrees for tomorrow. 20% chance of showers tomorrow. Right now, 93 degrees.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Utah Fire Watch. Things looking a little sparky this week.
Fire weather is going to be elevated for the next 7 days. Northern, central, southern Utah, doesn't matter where you're at, you're going to be seeing that afternoon breeze. That will fan fires that are already burning, and if any fires do start, we're going to see those fires thrive.
The time is 1 o'clock on Monday, July 14th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we have special coverage of the dry, breezy, and hot weather conditions this week. Also this hour,
in a professional and a dignified way, and that we do it right.
What the Department of Corrections is doing ahead of Ralph Menzies' execution in September. But first, our top stories. Preparations are being made to execute convicted murderer Ralph Menzies later this year by firing squad. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The method of execution hasn't been used in 15 years, but Utah Department of Corrections Executive Director Jared Garcia says they are prepared to go through with it, and they have started the process of finding officers to take part.
We'll want to make sure that there are people that are, first of all, mentally prepared to participate in this type of assignment. As you can imagine, it shouldn't be taken lightly.
There is a chance Menzies won't be executed at all. There's a hearing scheduled for later this month that will determine if his competency should be looked at again.
The execution is scheduled for September 5th of this year. Our top national story, President Trump has announced an arms deal with NATO where the U.S. would supply arms to Ukrainian forces. The president is giving Russia 50 days to reach a ceasefire deal with Ukraine, or he will punish Russia with tariffs.
President Trump again expressing his frustration with Vladimir Putin, speaking about the phone calls he has with the Russian leader and how, quote, the talk doesn't mean anything.
I speak to him a lot about getting this thing done. And I always hang up and say, well, that was a nice phone call. And then missiles are launched into Kiev or some other city. And I said, it's strange.
The president called Putin a, quote, tough guy and said he's fooled a lot of American leaders over the years, but insisted that hasn't happened with him. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Also at the meeting, NATO's Secretary General Trump says he's open to negotiating the 30% tariff on EU imports.
The deals are already made. The letters are the deals. The deals are made. There are no deals to make. They would like to do a different kind of a deal, and we're always open to talk.
EU member states say they are also willing to work on a deal with the U.S. The social media account for a popular Sesame Street character went on a racist and anti-Semitic tirade over the weekend. ABC's Mike Dubusky has more.
The X account for Elmo, the furry red monster from Sesame Street, shared a string of posts Sunday that included racist and anti-Semitic language. At one point, it even commented on the sex trafficking investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. A spokesperson for Sesame Workshop said the disgusting posts were the work of a hacker, and they're working to restore full control of the account. The posts have since been taken down. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is now up by 79 points, sitting at 44,450. S&P up by 12, and the NASDAQ up by 71 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky, any trouble spots?
Only the one. It's in Taylorsville, a small accident, and it's already in the cleanup stages. Westbound I-215 southbound after Redwood Road, near the bend as you're headed towards 4700 South Taylorsville. Everybody out of traffic on the right shoulder. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
98 degrees for a high today, up to 100 tomorrow with a 20% chance of showers, then staying in the mid-90s for the rest of the week. 94 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Amanda, we love talking about Utah Community Credit Union, and guess what? They just got news that they saved their members over $40 million in 2024 alone.
And UCCU is opening 4 new branches in the Salt Lake Valley, which means 6 total now. They have 21st South, Taylorsville, Sandy, Magna, Harriman, and Draper.
And to celebrate these new branches, UCCU is offering some amazing opportunities. First of all, $150 cash just for setting up direct deposit with your UCCU account.
They'll give you up to $250 cash just for transferring any existing loan from another institution to UCCU.
And here's the big one, giving away 10 amazing prizes, including, get this, a brand new 2025 Jeep Wrangler.
So you heard that right. A brand new Jeep Wrangler could be yours, and no purchase is necessary. You don't even have to be a member.
Anyone can enter. It's easy. All you've got to do is go to uccu.com and sign up. So enter to win today.
UCCU.com. Find out more about Utah Community Credit Union, where you're going to love where you bank.
Healthcare with human kindness is here. It's at Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Together, we have a common purpose, partnering with you in health and healing using powerful medicine, powerful technology, and the greatest power of all, human kindness. You'll know it when you see it, because human kindness is in every care site and in every caregiver. Common Spirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
5 guys walk into a JCW's and order burgers. A pastrami, a mushroom Swiss, a guacamole bacon, a hickory barbecue, a ribeye steak, 2 onion rings, 3 french fries, a strawberry, mint, peanut butter, chocolate, and marshmallow shake, and not one left to tip. Because at JCW's, we don't ask for it. We think the price you see should be the price you pay. And all that, would you like to leave a tip stuff, is for the birds. JCW's. Quality and a lot of it. Open in American Fork, Lehigh, Provo, South Jordan, and Harriman.
We're flirting with triple-digit heat today, and the forecast looking hot, dry, and a little breezy. Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Utah Fire Watch, we have special coverage on KSL News Radio. We begin with KSL's Chief Meteorologist, Kevin Eubank, who joins me to talk about the fire dangers around the state. Kevin, hot, dry, and breezy, that's not too uncommon for July, right?
No, it is pretty common, Maria, but the conditions are what's uncommon, and that is depleted reservoir storage, a really dry fall, winter, spring, and now summer. And so the conditions are just so ripe for fire issues. So anytime, this is the hottest time of the year. It generally runs from July 4th to about July 31st. It's when we have our hottest peak temperatures, the lowest humidities, and the least moisture across the state. And so it really is a super, super dry time. And it's why the critical fire danger is just elevated right now, and everyone's talking about it, is because we've got wildfires burning and the potential for more to start.
Yeah, specific areas that we need to be concerned about?
Right now, it's south central Utah. They're the hottest temperatures, and they're the ones who have a fire weather watch in effect right now. But truth be told, the whole state, any spark from anything can turn into a wildfire so fast. So even though we have just extra high danger in the south, anywhere across the state, we could have a fire blow up and it can take off and just go crazy, as we've seen all across the country. It's just so easy, and it just takes one little thing, whether it's a firework or a chain on a trailer or a flat tire on the highway. It just doesn't matter. Any spark, any fire, any lightning can just go crazy.
And the wind doesn't help us out, does it?
No, it doesn't, for 2 reasons. Number one, it will fuel any new fire starts, but the other problem is all the firefighters that are currently fighting fires, they have to deal with the winds during the day, the winds during the night, the shift in directions, and it makes it dangerous. It makes it difficult for air support to come in and do what they need to do, and fire managers to get a hold and get some containment lines put around those fires.
So any relief on the horizon?
There is a little, and there's a chance for a little bit of storminess to come into southern Utah here later this week. The problem, Maria, and you know this, you've been around a long time, storms often come with lightning. And so even though you get a little rain, you actually probably get more harm than good because you get the wind and the lightning that accommodates that or accompanies that, and that often sparks even more fire. So I wish I said we had a 70-degree day with rain coming. We don't. That's wishful thinking. I wish we had it, but we don't. It's going to stay hot and dry here for the next 7 to 10 days.
Yeah, both in the northern and southern parts of the state, right?
Yeah, and again, we do have a chance for some thunderstorms over the south, but those are afternoon bubble ups, and they don't bring a lot of rain and a lot of conditions that are going to help fires.
Thanks, Kevin, for being with me. That is KSL's Chief Meteorologist, Kevin Eubank. Remember, you can get the latest weather updates by downloading the free KSL Weather app. Utah Fire Watch Hour special coverage continues. A new wildfire burning southeast of Monroe City in Sevier County, prompting new evacuations. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
This is about a 15-minute drive south of Richfield, and the fire itself is burning in the mountains south of the city.
There's about 50 to 60 structures that are being threatened at this time.
Kelly Wickens with the Utah Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Land says the first 911 call came in around 2:30 yesterday afternoon, and in just a matter of hours, the fire grew to 700 acres. Officials say the fire is human-caused, but they have not specified more than that yet. That's why Wickens is asking people to be careful elsewhere around the state, as there's still a lot of summer left.
It's hot and dry. Use your fire sense. If you're out recreating, please use precautions.
Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
And that fire has grown to more than 1,200 acres this afternoon, still 0% containment. The Deer Creek fire burning in San Juan County has now burned over 10,000 acres and is 0% contained. Nat Seamers with Great Basin Team 4, says hundreds of firefighters are working all sides, including near the small town of LaSalle.
And they're actively working the fire perimeter with heavy equipment, bulldozers, and hand crews, cold trailing and mopping up.
New evacuations were ordered over the weekend for LaSalle. Several homes have been destroyed, while dozens more are in danger. The fire started on Thursday. The cause is still undetermined. Fire officials gave their last update on the France Canyon fire over the weekend. They say it's 90% contained, and local units are back in command. The fire burned around 35,000 acres. Crews will update on the condition once that fire is fully contained. And the 16,000-acre Forsyth fire burning in southern Utah is sitting at 72% containment. Crews on the scene are struggling to contain that fire because of the winds. Further south in northern Arizona, a fire burning along the north rim of the Grand Canyon is raising several questions. This coming after the fire destroyed several historic buildings in recent days. ABC's Alex Stone has more.
The Grand Canyon Lodge was the only lodging on the north rim of the Grand Canyon, now gone, taken by fire, along with a visitor center, gas station, and other buildings. The Dragon Bravo fire began on the 4th of July from lightning. It was being managed by the National Park Service as a controlled burn, but in recent days it took off on them, and now the governor of Arizona is calling for an independent investigation for deciding to allow it to burn during the hottest, driest part of the year, leading to it getting out of control. Alex Stone, ABC News.
In 60 seconds, we'll talk about the reservoir levels around the state and how the drought is affecting them.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Half dozen Utah reservoirs like Yuba and Gunnison have now fallen below 40% of capacity. Laura Haskell, Utah Division of Water Resources Drought Coordinator, tells KSL News Radio's Adam Small a number of factors have caused them to be lower than normal for this time of year.
It was sort of a cascading effect. We had some low soil moisture in the fall, and then we had a snowpack that was okay. And then we had some really high temperatures in the spring, like March, April, May, that 3-month period. The temperatures were about 2 degrees higher than they normally would be. And so our snowpack peaked about 10 days early. And 10 days, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but it caused that inflow to the reservoirs to be a little bit early. And so then they started going down early as well. So it was sort of this domino effect of factors.
She says while the low reservoir levels won't impact our drinking water, they may lead to outdoor water restrictions.
A lot of the water that we use is actually used outdoors. We use more than half of our water outdoors. So you're going to see restrictions and cuts and things on outdoor watering a lot before you'll see any restrictions or any concern with your indoor water use. So it's always so important to stay connected with your local water provider to understand what they want you to do, because they have a really good idea of what their water system is, where it's at, and how things are looking for their water system.
She says the water levels will continue to drop until around October.
Typically, the reservoirs will continue to go down until maybe mid-October, mid-November. So they are going to probably keep decreasing until, the fall. And as they go down, there could be some water restrictions, especially outdoors with different systems. As far as indoor water restrictions, most water systems have multiple sources. They may have springs or wells in addition to the reservoirs for their drinking water. It makes their system really robust, and they're able to better serve their customers and have that reliability of multiple sources in case there's a problem. In case a well goes down or something, they have different sources that they can rely on. So I don't necessarily anticipate indoor restrictions this year, but again, things can happen. A tank can go down, a water system can have a problem, and so there's always that possibility. And besides that, we enjoy recreating on these water bodies, so we want to do everything we can to keep them as full as possible so that we can have them to enjoy and have them for future use. So always just be careful with your water use. But as far as indoor use, I don't anticipate huge restrictions, but anything's possible.
While reservoirs along the Wasatch Front are in good shape, Haskell says that situation could change quickly.
We have seen the reservoirs go down over the last month. Again, partly because of that early peak, we have seen them go down quicker than we would normally see them. So even though we have the water in the reservoirs right now, doesn't mean we can just use as much as we want, because we have seen them go down faster than they have in other years. So still something to be aware of. Even though we're in good shape, we don't know what next year holds. We do see those reservoirs continue to go down until October, November. So we want to be aware that we're not going to be refilling those until next spring. So let's be careful with what we have.
She says water conservation is important for all of us.
Yes, it is very important. We're one of the driest states in the nation. We won't have those reservoirs increase until at least, October, November. And then we don't know if we're going to have a great winter next year or not. And like I said, over half of our water is used outside, and we aren't irrigating in December. We aren't irrigating part of the year. So in that short window that we're irrigating, then we're using more water than we use out inside for the whole year. So there's a lot of water there. And I don't think people realize, just with one lawn watering, how much water is used. So just be aware. You can spot water some spots. We've done that a couple of times in my own yard, because they're just spots the sprinklers miss. You don't have to water the whole thing. Just put a little sprinkler on one area with the timer, and you'll be good. There's also the weekly lawn watering guide on slowtheflow.org, and has some great tips on it. It'll give you an idea of how much to water your lawn depending on where you live, and also tips to save water.
Laura Haskell is the drought coordinator at the Utah Division of Water Resources. After the break, we'll dig into a lawsuit that claims big oil's effects on climate change led to the death of a Washington woman due to heat. It's a really interesting case. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
The one crash on the Valley freeways that we had in Taylorsville, westbound I-215 southbound after Redwood Road, never really caused any kind of major delays. It was out of traffic on the shoulder. That has pulled away. We're back to a crash-free commute on your Salt Lake County freeways. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
You ever noticed when you're a little overweight or even a lot overweight that the heat really makes a difference in how you feel? That is one of the great things about having lost more than 40 pounds with the help of Salt Lake City Fat Loss. This is a great program. It resets your metabolism. It teaches you how to keep the weight off for good. And for the first time, I've loved it. For the first time, I didn't have to exercise over an hour every day to boost my metabolism and lose that weight. It's a simple plan. It fits perfectly into my busy schedule, and it's easy to follow with an all-natural foods to eat, great resources to keep you accountable, no injections, surgery, or pills, so you don't have any added concerns about any possible health impacts. Save $200 right now. Go to slcfatloss.com to learn more, or you can call them 801-450-1882, slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
When was the last time your vacation was living the art of adventure? Discover it in Cedar City, Utah. Towering red rocks, epic trails, summer events, and world-class drama at the Tony Award-winning Utah Shakespeare Festival starting June 17th with Macbeth, Antony and Cleopatra, and more. Marvel at nature's masterpieces with just a short drive to Zion, Bryce Canyon, Cedar Breaks, and Kolob Canyons. Discover Utah's earliest artists at the Parowan Gap Petroglyph site. Head up to Bryan Head for chairlift rides that deliver endless high-elevation views. Wildflower Meadows, topped off with ATV and downhill biking trails. Be starstruck by the skies at Cedar Breaks National Monument. Browse Cedar City's unique shops and indulge in savory bites. Come experience the art of adventure around every turn in Cedar City. Start planning your vacation right now at visitcedarcity.com.
Do you know how to tell if a clogged drain is something to worry about or not? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I understand it's annoying and inconvenient, but sometimes a clogged drain can be a sign there's a more serious issue with your sewer main line. If the drains in the lowest level of your home aren't draining, or you flush a toilet and it comes up somewhere else like a shower or a floor drain, I'm urging you to look at this as more than just an annoyance. The last thing I want you to experience is a sewer backup. If you're a homeowner experiencing any of these issues, the first step would be to snake the line to see if it's just a blockage, which one of our drain techs can do for only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Well, it's officially summer, and whatever you have planned for the summertime months in the great state of Utah, it can be made better with a stop at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Say, for example, you're heading up into the mountains, going to do a little hiking, a little shopping at the outlet stores, whatever it might be. How about wrapping up a perfect day with that perfect meal that waits for you at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse at Hotel Park City? And of course, all of the things to do here along the Wasatch Front, especially in the capital city, whether it's a play, maybe a concert, some sporting event, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse is waiting for you at 275 South West Temple, where your entree will be perfectly prepared. I love the ribeye steak, and it is always cooked to perfection. The side dishes, the desserts, just the way you're treated, the way the servers take care of you. You're going to love your dining experience this summer at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
You are listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. So we've been talking about heat the last few segments, and we have just a bit more. A family in Washington is suing oil companies for allegedly causing the death of a woman who died in 2021 due to extreme heat. Julie Leon died of hyperthermia on June 28, 2021, the hottest day on record in Seattle's history. The temperature that day reached 108 degrees. The family now claims that climate change caused the extreme heat that killed Leon and that big oil is directly responsible for that climate change. Major oil companies named in the lawsuit include ExxonMobil, Chevron, BP, and Shell. Joining me now to talk about this case is KSL's legal analyst, Greg Skordas, who is also the co-host of Inside Sources. So, Greg, is it going to be pretty hard for these people to prove that this is actually the case, kind of connect that big oil and climate change go together?
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult, not impossible, but they've gone through in this complaint, Maria, some of the statements that oil and some of these big companies made or were aware of, knowing that what they were doing by burning fossil fuels was creating and contributing to our climate change. So they're saying that over the course of years, and they go back quite a few years, that these companies knew or should have known that what they were doing was creating a hazardous environment. And this woman, like you say, died of hyperthermia. It was a record heat day in the state of Washington the day she died. And they're claiming that the only reason why they were having record heat at that time, or the main contributing reason, was that the fossil fuel industry was polluting the environment and causing what we now call climate change.
So what type of precedents exist for a case like this?
I think the closest I can come to are the cases against big tobacco years ago, where people were claiming that they developed cancer and or addiction to nicotine and some of the ingredients that were in tobacco, and they were claiming that as a result of that, people were dying. And they brought cases and lawsuits against big tobacco. To me, this is very similar. It might be just the tip of the iceberg of number of cases that might come down, or maybe class action lawsuits, or maybe even cases brought by the state of Utah or other states. But yeah, there is some precedence, although this one takes it to a new level that we haven't seen before.
Right. But even for the big tobacco claims, that was a long haul. I mean, that was years and years before anything was determined.
Right. And this is going to be the same thing. It was filed just very recently in the state of Washington. It was removed, or is about to be removed to the federal court in the state of Washington. And like I said, it could be the beginning of something, or it may get thrown out immediately, and by a judge who say you know there's no way to make that connection between the conduct of the defendants here, these big oil companies, and the heat that caused this woman's death.
Are there any similar cases moving through the judicial system right now?
If there are, I have not seen them. I mean, like I said, this could be an outlier. This could be something where other people are willing to jump on the bandwagon. But they had to have a good plaintiff, someone that actually was suffered as a result of the conduct of these companies. And this woman died. So in my opinion, they at least found an appropriate plaintiff, an appropriate person to bring in action. And she died from hyperthermia. She died from too much heat, a heat exhaustion that got to the point where it caused her death. So they've got a plaintiff that can say, I was damaged by the heat, and that arguably that was created by the conduct of these defendants.
What are some of the specific arguments in there, and do you think they're going to hold water?
Yeah, their arguments were that they go through a lot of years of studies, and that they knew that this was going on. They knew that what they were doing was creating problems, and that they've known that for years and years, actually decades. But they still continue to do it, and they were actually deceptive about it. That they, even though they have internal memorandum and some government records that show that even back in the early 70s and 80s, that they knew that this fossil fuel was going to cause a problem with the environment, that they continue to do that, and that they cause this overheating of the environment, which is now causing death.
Looks like this case was filed in the Superior Court of Washington for King County first, but then moved to the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Washington. Any idea why that would be?
So the defendants, the oil and gas companies, moved it to federal court, saying that it has federal jurisdiction. Now, I don't know whether the state of Washington is going to agree with that, but they're saying that there's what we call diversity of citizenship. That is, these companies are all registered out of state. And in America, when you file a lawsuit and you have diversity of citizenship, it's removed to the federal court so that you don't say, well, I'm in Utah and I'm going to sue somebody from another state, thinking that you're going to get an advantage because it's the home court advantage, so to speak. So when there's a diversity of citizenship, a diversity of residency, they usually will take a case into federal court.
So what is the overall goal here? What are they hoping to accomplish or get out of this lawsuit?
Well, they're certainly asking for damages, and they're saying it caused her death, but they're also, I think, trying to make a point. And they really went through a whole bunch of studies and whatnot here. I mean, I think this is the beginning of something that could be very significant, but this is at its core, it's a wrongful death lawsuit. It's a lawsuit where they're claiming that the conduct of these people, these entities rather, caused some person's death. And so the damages could be astronomical.
Okay, Greg, thanks for being with me. Greg Skordas is KSL's legal analyst and the co-host of Inside Sources, airing weekdays on KSL News Radio beginning at 9 in the morning. In the next half hour of Midday, we'll dig into new frustrations against the DOJ's decision to not release any more files relating to Jeffrey Epstein's case. It's 1:30 Midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. President Trump supporting the Attorney General's decision to not release any more files in the Jeffrey Epstein case. 91 years of rodeo tradition coming this week to Ogden, and KSL traffic. Ricky?
We do have slowdowns in Davis County, southbound I-15 after the Kaysville Ponds, prior to Park Lane in Farmington. This, of course, is the construction zone on southbound I-15. Maria?
Mercury headed up to 100 degrees, 98 today, 100 tomorrow. Let's check with ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Kentucky police identified the gunman in the deadly shooting at a Baptist church Sunday in Lexington as Guy House. 2 people were killed, 2 others injured. Police say House also shot at a state trooper and carjacked a vehicle earlier. ABC News has learned through House's estranged girlfriend that he also had a history of mental illness and drug possession. Kentucky State Police Sergeant Matt Sudduth says the investigation into how he got the gun is ongoing.
I'm not going to speculate as to why he had a gun. If he had, obviously he had a firearm because of what we know, but I can't speculate as to how he got that.
President Trump announcing an arms deal with NATO to deliver defense weapons to Ukraine. The president also vowed to slap another round of steep sanctions against Russia if the leader does not get a peace deal done in 50 days. 20 states are suing the Trump administration's education department for withholding $6 billion in federal funding for education summer and after-school programs. They're asking for the courts to act quickly. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. A 20-year-old is facing multiple felonies after police say he pretended to witness a fatal crash in West Valley City, but he was actually one of the drivers. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
The crash on Sunday was between 3 different cars along State Route 111 and 5200 South. 1 person died, 3 were rushed to the hospital, but others involved, police say they ran off. Investigators say they spotted a 20-year-old walking down the street. They questioned him, and he said that he witnessed the crash. He even filled out a witness statement under a fake name. But they found out a couple of hours later his real name was Osvaldo Segovia.
Police say the suspect smelled like alcohol, and he did not have a driver's license. We now know that a 31-year-old man who died while paddleboarding at Silver Lake Flat Reservoir this weekend was trying to save a 12-year-old family member who was floating away. Utah County Sheriff's Office says the girl was on an inflatable tube and drifting further out into the reservoir, so Danielle Figueredo borrowed a paddleboard and went out to help her. During the struggle to consolidate, they fell into the water. He was lifting her up onto the inflatable before disappearing under the water. Now, search and rescue crews found his body nearly 3 hours later. The Deer Creek fire burning in San Juan County has now burned more than 10,000 acres and is 0% contained. Nate Seamers with Great Basin Team 4 says hundreds of firefighters are working on all sides, including near the small town of LaSalle.
And they're actively working the fire perimeter with heavy equipment, bulldozers, and hand crews, cold trailing and mopping up.
New evacuations were ordered over the weekend for LaSalle. Several homes have been destroyed, while dozens more are in danger. The fire started on Thursday. The cause is still undetermined. Other local stories, KSL is following Brine Head Ski Resort is looking to triple their current size, expanding to more than 2,500 acres. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
The project will add over 1,500 acres to the resort, several restaurants, and ski patrol areas. It would also grant the resort permission to clear dead trees left from the Brine Head fire in 2017. Brine Head Resort General Manager says the extra space will allow them to welcome more people to the resort with the same high-quality service. The Forest Service is starting their review of the proposal, which will include an environmental review.
The resort wants to hear from the public and plans to have 3 different open houses to review the proposal. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow up by 54 points, sitting at 44,425. S&P up by 7. The NASDAQ up by 53 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Reward Credit Card Promotion. Ricky?
Salt Lake County freeways crash-free, delay-free, but southbound I-15 in Davis County, it's the work zone with construction causing a little bit of slowing as you go from Kaysville into Farmington. Deseret First Credit Union is turning 70, and now it's their turn to say thank you, with special member giveaways happening all year long. Visit dfcu.com to learn more. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The heat is on with no signs of stopping. The coolest day this week, that'll be Wednesday with a high of 93, but it looks like the next 7 days, other than tomorrow, in the mid to upper 90s. Right now, 94 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Right now at S&S Roofing, get $1,000 off any roof replacement. Plus, you'll get their incredible 50-year worry-free warranty. Dial pound 250 and then say the keyword S&S Roofing for a free bid.
Peak summer fun is here, and so are peak summer savings during the Utah Summer RV Sale, presented by Bish's RV. July 17th through the 19th at the Shops of Southtown. We're bringing you sizzling summer savings on new and used RVs. We're packing the parking lot with smoking deals for every budget. Shop new and used travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, motorhomes, and more. Like travel trailers starting under $119 per month on approved credit. 90 days of all play and no pay OAC. Plus trade up when you trade in your current RV. Get an additional $500 value added to your current travel trailer, or an additional $1,000 added to your current fifth wheel or Class C motorhome when you trade it in. You'll also get a Blackstone Adventure Ready grill with any RV purchase during the sale. And this is the only summer show to feature the entire lineup from Wayfinder RV, exclusively at Bish's. Don't miss your best chance for an epic second half of summer during the Utah Summer RV Sale. 3 days only, July 17th through the 19th at the Shops at Southtown. See you there. Based on approved credit, 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Stock number 81734. Subject to prior sale. See the details. Deal number 426B.
All right, Takis fans. Wendy's knows you love your Takis Fuego chips. So we thought, why not make a Takis Fuego meal with a Takis Fuego chicken sandwich with spicy chicken topped with crushed Takis Fuego chips and creamy corn spread. Plus, it comes with Fuego fries inspired by Takis and a bag of Takis Fuego chips. If we had any more heat, we might start an actual... I told him this would happen. For an intense new take on Takis chips, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Includes 1 ounce Takis Fuego chips while supplies last. Takis and Fuego trademarks are used under license.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You are listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. Ralph Menzies, the man on death row convicted of killing Maureen Hunsaker in 1986, will be put to death by firing squad. It will be the first time firing squad has been used since 2015. Today, Utah Department of Corrections officials provided details on how this execution will occur. Last week, a judge signed the death warrant for Menzies, setting an execution date of September 5th. Utah Department of Corrections says that they are planning to go through with the firing squad.
We are prepared to carry out this type of execution through a firing squad. The logistics are just a little bit different on how we locate firing squad members. We're just getting started with that process. And as Glenn mentioned, the room is the exact same room. The difference is a person, the condemned, is strapped down to a gurney. during a lethal injection. And in this case, they will be in a chair sitting up. Outside of that, things are very similar.
Department of Corrections Executive Director Jared Garcia says they are beginning the process of selecting the officers who participate in that firing squad.
We'll want to make sure that there are people that are, first of all, mentally prepared to participate in this type of assignment. As you can imagine, it shouldn't be taken lightly. And also we want to make sure that they are skilled in an area that requires this as well. So those are things I'm considering, and I want to make sure that this goes through in a professional and a dignified way, and that we do it right.
Director Garcia says they want to make sure that this execution is done by the state on behalf of the people of Utah, and that it's done in a dignified and respectful manner.
And again, we want to make sure that we're able to carry this out in a professional and dignified way. We want to make sure we're showing respect and to him as well, and making him comfortable as well, helping him to be as comfortable as he possibly can. So those things are constantly being evaluated. Not only his phone calls and visits and those things, but anything that could create harm to our community or to our facilities as well. Those are all things that we pay attention to.
The execution has been scheduled for September 5th, just after midnight. Turning to national news now, President Trump backing U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi's decision to not release any more files relating to the Jeffrey Epstein case. Over the weekend, the president posting on social media saying, quote, "Let Pam Bondi do her job. She's great," going on to say that she's doing a fantastic job. The post came after Attorney General Bondi, as well as the DOJ and FBI, faced scathing remarks over her handling of the investigation during the Turning Point USA Student Action Summit, a conservative conference aimed at uniting Republicans behind President Trump's agenda. Start Here host Brad Mielke speaks with ABC's Catherine Falders about the backlash coming towards the administration from none other than MAGA loyalists.
Catherine, it now sounds like this is creating real rifts in the Trump administration, even at like the upper echelons of the FBI. What is happening?
So, according to sources I've been talking to, the DOJ and the FBI were all on the same page. They were going to come out and release this memo and say, let's put this to bed. We'll release no more files. But then there was the MAGA backlash in some ways. And then in comes Dan Bongino. He's the deputy director of the FBI, one of the people who peddled these conspiracy theories before coming into government. He had a podcast. He was making millions of dollars from his podcast.
There are a lot of people who are knee deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing.
That was Bongino in 2023. But now in the wake of this DOJ decision, the MAGA base is going crazy. So then you see this reporting starting to come out. We have reported that Bongino had told allies of his that he would resign, that he would quit his job as deputy FBI director if Pam Bondi didn't go, if she wasn't out as the attorney general. So at the White House, Brad, sources have told us that there was this confrontational meeting last week that involved the attorney general, the deputy FBI director, Dan Bongino, and the chief of staff, Susie Wiles, was in this meeting as well. And during that meeting, Brad, Bongino was confronted by the others in the room who essentially said, you're leaking negative information on the attorney general. I'm told that during that meeting, he just got up and stormed out, and nobody really heard from him again. This is the deputy director of the FBI in charge of marshaling resources if there were to be any crisis in the country. And he didn't show up to work. He wasn't there on Friday. He told people he was taking the day off, but nobody could get a hold of him. DOJ officials were telling us that Bongino essentially wasn't reachable. We still haven't heard from him.
Right. It makes you wonder if either Bongino had no idea the DOJ was going to go in this direction. That's a tough sell since he was appearing on Fox News weeks ago saying Epstein did indeed kill himself. Or it makes you wonder if Bongino had maybe agreed to go along with this until he saw backlash from the far right. What is Trump's position here? Because if you're Trump, could you not just say, let's give my supporters what they want? Let's release every shred of paper on this. Like, he's clearly not going that direction.
Right. So for days, Brad, the biggest question seemed to be, where did Trump stand on this? And it's all raising a lot of questions. There's so many dynamics and elements to this Epstein story. Of course, Donald Trump has now come out and said that he supports his attorney general. Let her do her job. Nobody should be talking about the Epstein stuff anymore. Case closed.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years.
President Trump hasn't always been that way. Falders reports that the president had previously been much more in favor of releasing the records. He's not necessarily been a huge supporter of releasing more information, but he wasn't opposed to it. Whereas Attorney General Pam Bondi has been very vocal about releasing all the material until now.
There were literally hundreds, maybe 1,000 FBI agents that were taken off national security issues, other things, just to go through these files. And now all of a sudden, they've gone through them. They promised they release more information.
Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day.
And now DOJ and FBI says, we're not going to release this information.
Right. He appeared with Bondi at the FIFA Club World Cup yesterday. He made a post on a social media platform backing her. So we can see where his support lies, Catherine. Will more dominoes have to fall, though, for this administration to get through this kind of political crisis?
So I had a lot of different thoughts on where this went politically over the weekend when you were just talking about the Turning Points USA conference and some of Trump's biggest supporters getting on stage and trashing the attorney general. She was public enemy number one.
President Trump has a busy life, and I don't think he realizes how much she's humiliated the administration. This is a self-inflicted wound. She caused it.
And Pam, if you can't do your job, we'll find someone who will.
But Saturday rolled around, Trump drew a line in the sand. He said he supports Pam Bondi, but he also made this baseless allegation that maybe the files were somehow tainted by the FBI and the Democrats. So that was a new thing. And that's raised a lot of questions in people's heads. Why is he saying that? So I don't think it's a crisis, a political crisis, frankly, that's going away for this White House and for the president. It's just how it evolves among his base, among his supporters. And then where does Dan Bongino go in all of this? He still hasn't said anything publicly.
Right. Just huge questions facing the entire Trump DOJ over this decision, and now questions about what the Trump White House is going to do about it. Catherine Falders, thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
Breaking news on KSL. The Supreme Court will allow President Trump to continue with his plans of dismantling the Department of Education through laying off nearly 1,400 employees. The ruling was 6-3 with the liberal justices in dissent. High court action enables the administration to resume work on winding down the department, one of President Trump's biggest campaign promises. In just a few minutes, we'll get a preview of Ogden's Pioneer Days Festival. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
A small accident in Utah County, northbound I-15. It's near the Highway 6 junction in Spanish Fork. Everybody over to the left shoulder right now, but we're still waiting for emergency crews to arrive. And then in downtown Salt Lake City, officers are mopping up an accident at 8th East and 1st South. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Whether you're building your $1 million dream home, giving your current home a facelift, or just trying to get it out of the minor leagues, Peach Windows and Doors brings the big league look.
Modern style, energy efficiency, clean lines, tough builds, and curb appeal that hits like a home run. Not sure what you need? No sweat. Peach has the coaching staff to get your home in the game. No pressure, no gimmicks, just solid game plans and pro-level results to help you knock it out of the park.
Come see for yourself big, beautiful windows that bring the outside in. Visit Peach Windows and Doors showroom, big enough to spark ideas, small enough to feel right at home. It's time to step up your game and make your house the MVP of the neighborhood. Why live in the minor leagues when you can swing like $1 million? Peach Windows and Doors, because real homes play like champions. Visit peachdoorsandwindows.com or call 801-566-1255 for your free consultation.
That's Peach Windows and Doors. Give them a call, 801-566-1255.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word INBOX to 57500. That's INBOX to 57500.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right, so I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Summer is the perfect time for a refresh. Maybe you're taking time off from school, hitting the road for a well-earned vacation, or just soaking up the sunshine in your own backyard. This summer, give it the same fresh start with Zero-Res carpet and air duct cleaning. Right now, Zero-Res is offering an unbeatable summer deal. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129 and take 15% off air duct cleaning while you're at it. Zero-Res cleans with their patented ZR water, which means no soaps, no harsh chemicals, and no crunchy residue left behind. So whether you're cleaning up from summer adventures or just want a home that feels as fresh as it looks, now's the time. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129 and take 15% off air duct cleaning while you're at it. Book your appointment today at Zerores.com. Spelled the same forward or backward. Zero-Res is the right way to clean.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
This is Midday with Maria Shilaos. If you are looking for a blood-pumping, hand-slapping, adrenaline-soaked good time, Ogden Pioneer Days is the place for you. The statehood celebration takes us back to our Western heritage. Joining me to talk about it is Foundation Chair Steve Handy and Miss Rodeo Utah, Olivia Favero, and Miss Rodeo Ogden, Ada Poulter. Steve, I'd like you to start out, though, and tell us a little bit about Ogden Pioneer Days and what makes Ogden Pioneer Days cool.
Ogden Pioneer Days was started in 1934, and you have to remember this was the height of the Depression. Unemployment was 25%. We can't even contemplate that today. And certainly since 1847, after the Mormon pioneers arrived the next year, there were always been celebrations and parades and picnics and all kinds of things. But Ogden was really one of the first cities to formalize a Pioneer Day celebration. So we go back to 1934, and now we're in our 91st year. We have a huge rodeo. It's a huge outdoor rodeo, ranked 14th in the country in terms of the out of the 650 sanctioned PRCA rodeos. We pay out about $600,000. So that's how you're ranked. We'll have about 50,000 people in our arena over 6 days. 5-6 days. We're actually going to start on July 18th, and we'll have top contestants, and we'll have fun specialty acts, and all for an average price of about $25. It's a bargain, a great tradition, and we hope everyone will come out and enjoy the time with us.
Okay, well, let me talk to your rodeo queens for just a minute here. Let me start with Olivia. Olivia, talk to me about what it means to be Miss Rodeo Utah.
Thank you for asking and giving me a chance to talk about that. It's something that
I really love Miss Rodeo Utah is a great title to hold. It's the highest level you can get as a rodeo queen besides Miss Rodeo America. So I started officially January 1st of 2025, and all year I've been representing Utah is my priority, but I have the chance to go out of state a lot. I started traveling out of state early winter and spring, so I've been home going to all kinds of events. Oh my gosh, you can't believe it. School visits, rodeos, assemblies, different luncheons and sponsor visits. So there's a lot to cover as a rodeo queen, but each aspect is so important to make sure everybody in the industry feels very appreciated.
Ada, I'm going to ask you the same question. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, so like Olivia said, there's just so much opportunity that being a rodeo queen does. For me, I've always been involved in the rodeo and agricultural industries. My dad rodeoed. My mom grew up on a cattle ranch, so it's just something that I was kind of born into and had the opportunity and the blessings to be able to be a part of and work towards. I was able to high school rodeo, college rodeo, and now queening on the PRCA level and being able to just share this, how much love I have for this industry with the next generation while also building the legacy of it and being able to promote it and share it with people that maybe didn't have the opportunity growing up to be a part of it and being able to share that with them as their fans now, but also younger contestants that maybe they're back and forth on if they want to play sports in high school or if they want to rodeo, and being able to share why I love it personally and what it's done for me in my life and built me into who I am today. And being able to share that experience and then allowing them to go out and have those same experiences and learn to love it for themselves.
Olivia, what does it take to become a rodeo queen? I mean, what do you have to do?
I like to say it's years and years of practice. To be Miss Rodeo Utah, I've been working at that since I was 8 years old. But specifically for the pageant, it's a week-long pageant for Miss Rodeo Utah. We check into a hotel and we are totally secluded from society, it seems like. They say no phones for that week. Let's see how you guys can handle yourselves. And we're with the judges a lot during the week in different various areas of the pageant. We have interviews with the judges and public speaking, horsemanship. They judge us on our appearance and our personality. So mainly, they're looking for the person who is overall the most prepared and ready to represent as Miss Rodeo Utah.
Ada, what does this rodeo, the Ogden Pioneer Days, what does this mean to you?
To me, this is something so much more than just a rodeo because growing up, it was family tradition. And unlike Ada, I didn't grow up in the rodeo scene. My family had horses and they used them on pack trips in the mountains, but that was it. Horses weren't looked at as a sport or a competitor. And so we started that when I was 8, and I convinced my mom and dad to sign me up for a rodeo queen pageant. But the reason I knew about rodeo queens is because Ogden Pioneer Days. And I'd go on the 24th of July when they did the Miss Rodeo Utah coronation. And I mean, you ask me my favorite part of the rodeo, it still might be the Miss Rodeo Utah coronation there. So it's something that I enjoy every year, spending time with family there in my hometown and also watching the best cowboys and cowgirls come to compete in Ogden too. It's very humbling.
Steve, I want to ask you why you think that something like the Ogden Pioneer Days, I know it's a tradition, but why has it just really held strong in its popularity?
Well, a couple of reasons. It was that the city of Ogden, like I said, from 1934 started this, and then in the late 1990s, they realized, we really can't do this. It's gotten too big, and so they set up a foundation that now I'm the chair of the foundation, and really privatized the celebration. So it brought in entrepreneurs and individuals with contacts to really grow with SARS. We have over 100 sponsors. People stand in line to sponsor Ogden Pioneer Days, and we put on just a great show. It's broadcast now on what's called streamed on the Cowboy Channel, and the setting in Ogden it's referred to very often as the West's most spectacular outdoor setting. Looking up into the Wasatch Mountains to the east of Ogden, it is absolutely unbelievable as the sun sets, reflects off of the mountains. It is an absolutely great time. So I think we've just carved out a really important niche over these many 91 years There are other rodeos going on at the same time, Days of 47, Spanish Fork, and the contestants love this because within this 100-mile or so corridor, they can travel up and down and compete in these 3 big rodeos.
Olivia, what would you like people to know about rodeo?
I would like them to come and experience it for themselves and see what they can really take away from it because, like we've said, it's such a traditional sport and there's truly something for everybody to love about it. Whether you want to just listen to the announcer and soak that in, or see the cowboys ride the bucking horses, or who can rope the steer the fastest. It's something that last night I heard a new fan come to the rodeo and he said it's electric. And there's just nothing else that can mimic the sport of rodeo.
Ada, what would you like to add?
It almost isn't something you can put into words, at least for me. It's not, it's the experience and the emotion and the memories connected to it for me. And being able to share that with someone, you can try to put it into words, but it truly is. It's something that you can't just say, hey, I love it and you're going to love it too. It's something you have to share that experience with and build those memories. And it does. It becomes a family tradition for so many people just after 1 year because it is just so different and unique for everybody. They can go to the same rodeo and each take away something completely different from it. But no matter what, they're going to take away and they're going to take home. They're going to say, I love that. And we're going to go back next year. And I just encourage anybody who can, if you have an opportunity to go because I promise you are going to love something about it, even if it's something different than what I love.
Ogden Pioneer Days kicks off this Friday, July 18th. It runs through Pioneer Day on July 24th. You can buy tickets, get more information at ogdenpioneerdays.com.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Fentanyl cases spiking across the state once again.
The problem is not confined to our borders, and it's not confined to our large cities. This is a problem that affects all Utah families. One pill can kill, and too often that pill is actually disguised as something that it's not.
The time is 2 o'clock on Monday, July 14th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we'll have a live report about a new, stronger kind of fentanyl previously used to sedate elephants. Also this hour,
it's got to stop. It's got to stop.
Russia facing stiff tariffs and sanctions if they don't come to a peace deal with Ukraine. But first, our top stories. Arrangements are being made to execute death row inmate and convicted murderer Ralph Menzies by firing squad. The execution is scheduled for later this year, but there's still time for that to change. Menzies' attorneys are looking to get his competency reevaluated. Utah Department of Corrections Executive Director Jared Garcia says they will cooperate with whatever the court decides.
As always, we will monitor the courts, we'll communicate with our attorneys, and we will stand ready to change plans if needed.
Garcia says they are currently looking for officers to go through with the execution, doing mental and skill-based evaluations to make it the most professional and dignified way as possible. Our top national stories from ABC News. The Supreme Court has ruled to allow President Trump to go ahead with his plans to lay off 1,400 employees from the Education Department. The court paused an order from a U.S. district judge in Boston who issued a preliminary injunction reversing the layoffs. Meanwhile, nearly 24 states are now suing the Department of Education and Office Management and Budget for withholding $6 billion in funds.
The effect is going to be massive and it's going to be immediate. We estimate it's roughly $165 million to the state. It's going to result in roughly 1,000 educators being laid off.
The North Carolina Attorney General, Jeff Jackson, believes the consequences could be dire for American students. Other national stories KSL is following. Today marks 3 years until the opening ceremony at the 2028 Summer Olympics in L.A.
At 5 p.m. local time on July 14th, the 2028 Olympics will officially begin with the opening ceremony at SoFi Stadium. But because that's also the venue where swimming will be held, the The 2028 games will buck tradition and start with track and field rather than swimming, so there's time to build a swimming pool at SoFi Stadium. Swimming will come after track and field. The closing ceremony will be at the LA Coliseum at 6 p.m. on July 30th, 2028. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Your money at this moment, the Dow up by 88 points at the close, nearly 0.25%, sitting at 44,459. S&P is up by 8 points and the Nasdaq up by 54 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
Salt Lake City PD clearing a crash in Sugar House at Highland Drive and Richmond Street. That's approximately 13th East and near 2700 South. And then delays northbound I-15 in Riverdale. So Weber County drivers, be aware we have this accident. Looks like two vehicles over to the left as you're approaching Hinckley Drive. If you're going through Riverdale on the way to Ogden, you'll start to see the backup as you're approaching the I-84 junction. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hot, hot, hot for the next 7 days. Very slight chance of showers tomorrow, 20% chance, and we're expected to reach 100 degrees tomorrow. 94 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
You worked hard for your 401k, but if you've left your job, your money might be sitting in the wrong hands. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and it's very possible that the 401k that you have had for years has hidden fees and limited investment choices. But if you're no longer with the company, that 401k may be at the mercy of your former employer. All of these things could be costing you thousands. Rolling over your 401k into an IRA can provide better investment options that align with your long-term goals. At Trajan Wealth, we're fiduciary advisors that are held to a higher standard with no hidden agenda and no hidden fees. Don't let your retirement dollars sit in an old plan, and don't roll it over to your new plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Advisory services are offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
An interstate fentanyl crisis continuing to hurt Utahns and their families. Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Things have been growing for a while now, but now it sounds like things are escalating. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera joins me live with the update. So, Eric, things are trending upwards again?
They are, Maria. Officials say they're seeing something even more dangerous showing up in Utah's drug supply, and it's called carfentanil. This is a synthetic opioid that's about 100 times more potent than fentanyl and originally developed to sedate elephants. Just a tiny amount can be lethal is what they say, and the problem is people often don't know it's in what they're taking. Public safety leaders now say the fentanyl supply in Utah is evolving fast and the stakes are higher than ever.
Okay, that's terrifying. So what are they seeing on the ground right now?
So Keith Weiss, who's the executive director who oversees our task forces throughout our region, says they're tracking fentanyl trends across Utah and the Mountain West. He says they're seeing big busts happening all over the state and new signs that Utahns are feeling the effect in ways that go beyond overdose numbers.
Right now, in a couple of the 5 counties that we support, 2 of the counties are reporting fentanyl prices are going up. In some areas of the state, fentanyl is becoming harder and harder to get, so it may indicate a slowing of the supply. Also, you'll see a fentanyl analogs and adulterants board here. Kind of explains carfentanil and how dangerous this drug is, and what its implications may be on the public health side if it gets into the distribution network and the use by our communities. It could be very impactful. Also, you'll see 2 storyboards from all the task forces represented behind me that show various seizures across the state of Utah, ranging from hundreds of thousands of pills seized this year. Each seizure taken off the streets is a potential life saved.
Well, that's a powerful reality check. So Utah is dealing with stronger drugs, shifting prices, and large-scale trafficking operations.
Exactly. And law enforcement leaders say they're stepping up their efforts in a big way. So at that same press conference today, the Department of Public Safety announced a new statewide fentanyl dashboard, something that's never been done here before. It's going to help public safety agencies, health departments, and local leaders track overdose spikes, hot spots, and drug seizure trends in real time. That data means faster response and hopefully fewer lives lost.
And I understand there was a major fentanyl bust recently that's now tied to this new Utah law.
That's right. Just in the last month, DPS agents seized 92,600 fentanyl pills in a single case. That's the second largest bust in department history, is what they say. What makes this one different is that it's the first case being prosecuted under HB 87. A law passed earlier this year that makes trafficking 100 grams or more of fentanyl a first-degree felony in Utah. Here's what Commissioner Bo Mason told us about that case and what this task force is trying to accomplish overall.
Within the last month, SBI agents have made the second largest seizure in DPS history, seizing 92,600 fentanyl pills in one incident. This seizure, which will be charged and screened federally, resulted in the arrest of individuals trafficking fentanyl from Arizona into the Salt Lake Valley. Another great example of our aggressive enforcement efforts came over the 4th of July weekend, where arrests and screening of charges will lead to our first prosecution under HB 87, the new law pushed forward by Representative Gwynn that puts serious consequences for fentanyl dealers and increases those consequences. And our efforts at DPS are just one of a very large picture from statewide efforts.
So it sounds like the message from law enforcement is we're watching, we're adjusting, and we're not backing down.
Absolutely. They're combining stronger tools like that new dashboard in HB 87 with more public education as well and collaboration across state and federal agencies. And even though the presence of carfentanil raises serious alarm, there are small signs of progress. State health leaders say overdose deaths went down slightly in 2024, and early 2025 numbers are showing that trend might continue. Still, officials say this is no time to let up, and fentanyl is adapting, and so must the response.
All right. A sobering look at where things stand. Thank you, Eric. Federal charges have been dropped against a Utah doctor, Kirk Moore, who had been accused of destroying vaccines and giving out fake vaccination cards during the COVID-19 pandemic. The change coming at the sentencing of U.S. Attorney General at the insistence, of U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, who posted on X, quote, that Dr. Moore gave his patients a choice when the federal government refused to do so. He did not deserve the years in prison that he was facing. It ends today. Again, a quote from her. Shortly after the charges were dropped, Dr. Moore spoke before supporters.
It's been a tremendous ride, and having it end like this is a huge just weight off our shoulders and allows us to kind of continue with life as we had planned earlier.
KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas discussed the developments this morning with Inside Sources co-host Holly Richardson. He says one of the things that he finds interesting about this whole situation is that it took so long to dismiss this case.
This case has been going on for 2.5 years, and they wait until it's like day 3 of the trial.
Right.
And the U.S. attorney says, no, we're dismissing the case. I mean, for me, as a former prosecutor, and thinking about a case like this and the amount of work that had to go into the investigation and the charging and now the trial. I mean, I read the court docket on the case. It's 60 pages long.
Wow.
And has numerous entries. There were motions or motions in limine. I mean, they've done all this work. They finally got a jury seated. They had a 12-member jury with 2 alternates. So they had 14 people sitting there in the jury box waiting to hear this trial. Like, if you're going to dismiss it, why not dismiss it 100 days ago?
Right.
Why not dismiss it when
January 21st.
when you were doing things for the insurrectionists and others? I mean, why put everybody through, including the doctor himself, through all of this for so long, and then say, "Oh, we don't think this should be going forward."
So why did it take so long for these charges to be dropped? Co-host Holly Richardson had the answer.
Pam Bondi indicated that she just found out about this case. And so I don't know all the ins and outs about it, but Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene had brought it to her attention, but also Utah Senator Mike Lee had pushed it up the chain to get her attention. But yeah, why did it not happen, right on January 20th? I don't know.
I think some of our representatives were actually there, too. I think Speaker Schultz or someone was there.
In Utah, yeah.
Speaking,
Utah, yeah.
Yeah, our local representatives were there
that's
speaking on behalf of the doctor, or at least being part of the arguable protest outside the courtroom. And outside the courthouse, and we're very close to it here, there were a lot of protests. There were a lot of people that showed up, mostly in favor of the doctor. I didn't see very many protesters, or I didn't read any signs that seemed to say, hey, you do the crime, you do the time type of thing. They were more sympathetic to the doctor.
I didn't see that either. But, look, over 1 million people died in the United States of COVID, and so there certainly was some real concern. And there was, again, when you have an unknown disease that has surfaced, everybody is potentially vulnerable because there's no native immunity because it hasn't existed before.
Greg says in his legal opinion that the case is dead. He doesn't think another group or entity would necessarily have standing to bring another case forward.
Are you looking for a fun way to get your kids outside and off their screens this spring? Try flower gardening. Starting a beautiful flower bed or easy container garden is a great hands-on way to spend quality time together while teaching kids about nature. They'll love digging in the dirt, picking out their favorite flowers, and watching them bloom, all while making real, lasting memories. Plus, gardening is a great way to slow down, soak up some sunshine, and enjoy the fresh air as a family. This is Brian with Olson's Greenhouse, and my family has been growing flowers with care for 4 generations right here in Utah. Whether you have a big sunny backyard or just a small shady front porch, our colorful locally grown flowers make it easy to add beauty to your home. So this spring, start with a new family tradition, one that grows with your kids. Get inspiration at Olson's Greenhouse Gardens on Instagram or find a garden center near you at ogg.com. That's ogg.com for Olson's Greenhouse Gardens.
Bryan Head Ski Resort is looking to triple their current size, expanding to more than 2,500 acres. Forest Service is starting their review of the proposal, which will include an environmental review. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis spoke with the general manager, Tom Pettigrew, to find out what the expansion means to the resort.
Yeah, the expansion of the SUP is about 1,650 acres, and that'll increase the resort's diversity of terrain to really help us accommodate more and more guest ability levels and create this experience that's super important to us.
Now, the proposed expansion would add 14 new lifts, something Pettigrew says would add immensely to the skier experience.
We strongly control our capacity via our variable ticket pricing and access to the resort. So our intention currently is to provide a high-level ski experience for our guests with minimal wait times and crowding. And so the growth of the resort is really much more about being able to accommodate additional visitation and maintain that current skiing experience that we have. So yeah, there's growth that will come from that, whether it's chairlifts and ski runs, which are exciting, and additional on-mountain facilities. Currently, we don't have an on-mountain restaurant as an example, so we really believe that'll enhance the recreation experience for our guests.
Pettigrew says Bryan Head is unique for a number of reasons.
In that we're the highest resort in Utah, which enables us to really deliver a lengthy ski season. And, we see guests from the northern Utah, central Utah, southern Utah, Las Vegas, and Southern California, and really being able to expand our offering to provide, a greater experience for those guests, whether it's, more intermediate level skiing or more advanced level skiing, beginner level skiing, just to increase the opportunity to really deliver what we offer at Brian Head, which is really special to more people, is really the intent.
The resort wants to hear from the public and plans to have 3 different open houses to review the proposal. Stiff tariffs and sanctions potentially on the way for Russia. We'll get more on that in just a few minutes. But first, it's KSL traffic and it's emergency traffic. Brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
This is in Weber County. The accident that we have northbound I-15 approaching 31st Street in Ogden, it has been moved over to the right shoulder. So for just a few minutes, UHP temporarily held back all traffic in order to get from the left up against the barrier completely over to the right shoulder. All lanes are now open, but we do have residual heavy delays back to 5600 South Roy. UTA is road therapy. Give your car a break and get more U time. Plan your trip at rideuta.com or on the Transit app. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through July 21st, new Comcast Business customers can find out how to get started with 150 megabit internet and Security Edge for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how you get a $500 prepaid card for your business. Call and switch to Comcast Business today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Early termination fee applies.
When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Galileo Wealth Management, we understand the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, our investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and more. But think about it. What are you trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P? Or is your goal to make memories with your family? Our goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management today, 801-516-3227. That's 801-516-3227, or go online to GalileoWealth.com. Let Todd Kim and Galileo Wealth Management help you make memories, not just money.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Everyone loves the look of granite countertops, but they aren't the only option. When it's time to give your kitchen, bathroom, or basement a fresh new look, start at CountertopFactoryLLC.com. Countertop Factory offers high-quality laminate countertops that look amazing and cost just 1/3 of the price of stone. Yeah, you heard that right, 1/3 of the price. And these aren't your grandma's countertops. You'll get that luxurious look and feel without emptying your wallet. And with beautiful varieties of colors and patterns, it's easy to find something affordable and durable that fits your style perfectly. Countertop Factory installs most countertops in only 7 to 10 days from when they measure. That's faster than you can binge watch your favorite series. And it's not just countertops. At Countertop Factory, browse cabinet options to match your new countertops, all professionally installed to ensure everything looks flawless. From homes to offices to schools and hospitals. Get started 24/7 at CountertopFactoryLLC.com. That's CountertopFactoryLLC.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Hey, that's the spirit. Right now, we're celebrating free with a free STP oil filter when you buy 5 quarts of oil and free Duralast brake pads when you buy 2 rotors. Like always, free battery testing, charging, and recycling at every store. Celebrate free at AutoZone, now through July 28th.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You were listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. President Trump says he'll punish Russia with tariffs if Moscow doesn't end the war in Ukraine in 50 days. The president making the announcement this morning during an Oval Office meeting with NATO's Secretary General. Joining me live to talk about this is News Nation's Kelly Meyer. And Kelly, thanks for being with me. Give us an overview of what President Trump said this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me. A lot of news here at the White House today on 2 different fronts when it comes to Ukraine. First, the president announcing new weapon shipments to Ukraine, and that would be through NATO. So what would happen is the U.S. would send our own manufactured American-made weapons to NATO, and then they would then supply weapons to Ukraine, and then NATO would be the one paying for it, NATO countries. So anyone from Denmark to Sweden to Canada to the UK, they could be paying for these weapons and then go on to Ukraine. So for the president, this means that the U.S. doesn't have to foot the bill. That kind of, eases the concern from the MAGA base that was really not wanting to see the U.S. continue to fund weapon shipments to Ukraine, but it allows the president to continue to support the country. And then on top of that, he announced that there could be potential sanctions on Russia and tariffs on Russia if they don't come to the table and make a peace deal and come about with a ceasefire in the next 50 days. So that was something new as well, and really trying to show that he is trying to get them both to the table, but also showing his frustration with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Kelly, is there any guarantee from these other countries that they are going to help foot that bill?
Yeah, and there's still questions as they announced this today. What does this exactly look like? Does it mean these countries will supply the weapons and then get, reimbursed from the U.S. weapons, or how will they pay into this? How does this system exactly work? And those are some things we still don't know and still need to hear more about, frankly, from the administration, from the Department of Defense, exactly how this plan will be carried out. The idea is there, but we don't know exactly how this will be done.
Did the president go into any specifics about these tariffs or sanctions that he wants to place on Russia?
So he was saying when he announced this in the Oval Office today that he would put 100% tariffs, secondary tariffs on Russia. Then the Commerce Secretary later clarified to us at the White House that these would be secondary sanctions. So this would be on countries that trade with Russia. So what the White House clarified to me is that both sanctions and tariffs are on the table, but nothing is happening yet until that 50 days. And if they don't reach a deal in 50 days, then they threaten putting those on. There's a question from some Ukrainian officials I spoke to, why not put those on right now? Why not make it a bit of a tighter deadline? They fear that this is too much of a window, that Putin will just continue to do what he wants.
This seems to be a fairly significant change in the tone from the president, saying he's now in awe and supportive of Ukraine, but that hasn't always been the case. Any clue as to why this has changed?
It's It's a good question, and we've definitely noticed that shift here from, that contentious Oval Office meeting with Zelensky months ago, and to now, we just saw that President Zelensky posted on X saying that he had a great conversation with President Trump today, and that they both agreed to keep in touch more going into the future. And that is a notable shift. And now it seems as though the president's more critical of Putin, especially in the last couple of weeks. And he even mentioned a private conversation between him and the First Lady, where he mentioned that he had spoken to Putin and it was a nice call. And she kind of pressed back and said, oh, a nice call. He just had strikes overnight. So we don't know maybe how much of a role his wife has played in drawing some attention to Putin kind of saying one thing and then doing another.
Since the president made this announcement earlier today, has there been any word from Russia? Are there any negotiations underway?
Not that we've seen yet. As far as we know, when I talked with some Ukrainian officials today, the drone strikes are continuing, at least today. So that's all we've seen in response. We don't know officially what their response is, whether it's from the foreign minister, Putin himself, how they're responding to this. In the past, they have said that they're going to continue with their plan for victory, as they call it, and not fall into whatever the president here is saying. But we'll see if this may have or carry some weight when it comes with the potential threat of sanctions and, and hurting potentially the Russian economy even more.
So what are you watching for now as far as to any sign of negotiations or anything else in this particular case?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think we definitely watch to see the reaction out of Russia next, what Russia continues to do. We know they've been upping their strikes on Ukraine. Do they continue to do that? Do they lessen their strikes? And then does the president happen to talk with Putin this week? Is there any call on the table? He had said today that they talk, quote, a lot. Is there going to be a call between the two of them? And what more pressure can he put on them in the meantime? And how exactly can he get this deal done? So that will be something we'll watch for throughout the week.
All right. We appreciate your time. Kelly, thanks so much for being with me.
Thank you.
And that is Kelly Meyer. She is a Washington correspondent at News Nation. We've been talking about the president's kind of change of heart in sending arms to Ukraine and how he's going to get those there and the political ramifications of him doing so. Thank you for being with us today. It's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories that we are watching this hour. Parents may be able to track their children's buses this coming school year through an app. A 16-year-old becoming the youngest person to complete a difficult set of hikes in Utah. And KSL traffic, Ricky.
Slowdowns northbound I-15 going from Sunset almost to Ogden. It's due to a crash near 31st Street. Maria?
Thank you, Ricky. Don't expect a break from these hot temperatures, not at least this week, and very little chance of showers, a 20% chance tomorrow. We're going to check KSL's top local stories in 1 minute, but first we're going to get the very latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump, along with NATO Secretary General, announcing the U.S. will send Patriot missiles to Europe to be delivered to Ukraine. ABC's Karen Travers says Russia could also face steep sanctions.
The way the president described this is that there would be sanctions on Russia after 50 days if there is no ceasefire in the war in Ukraine. 100% tariffs on Russia. He described them, though, as secondary tariffs, which would suggest that also would be targeting countries that do business with Russia. Secondary tariffs meaning, the outer circle of those countries that are working with Russia, doing energy trading, things like that, oil and gas.
The top ice cream makers announcing they will eliminate certain artificial colors from their products by 2028. The dyes targeted by the FDA to be phased out and changed to dyes made from natural sources. Some studies have suggested the dyes have links to certain health problems. On Wall Street today, stocks rallied as investors brushed off tariff concerns. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. Utah law enforcement is ramping up efforts to get fentanyl off the streets, and officials say they're already on track to break last year's record for drug seizures. Keith Weiss, who oversees our region's task forces, says the fight is far from over.
The Utah-supported task forces are on pace in 2025 to exceed last year's record-breaking amount of fentanyl seized. And there will be a continued priority on taking the most dangerous drugs we know, such as fentanyl and the analogs, off our streets.
Officials say the push to stop trafficking and overdose deaths is growing more urgent as stronger versions of fentanyl continue to surface. The 15-year-old girl out of South Jordan who went missing for weeks earlier this year went missing again this weekend. But police say Elisa Petrov was found safe a few hours later thanks to immediate search efforts. Last time she was missing, she was found in Colorado. A man is in the hospital after police say he was shot in the head in Roy last night. The man was reportedly rushed to the hospital with a gunshot wound, and a person was arrested. But that's about all the information we have. No word on that man's condition. Other local stories KSL is following. Utah's reservoir levels have taken a nosedive in the last month or so, and a handful of them aren't even half full anymore.
Reservoirs like Yuba, Gunnison, Paiute, and others have fallen below 40% capacity, though none of these are along the Wasatch Front. Laura Haskell, the drought coordinator with the Utah Division of Water Resources, tells me this dry, hot spring we had was a major contributor, given it caused our snowpack to melt off faster.
It caused that inflow to the reservoirs to be a little bit early, and so then they started going down early as well.
And Haskell tells me she thinks people living around some of these particularly low-capacity reservoirs could see outdoor water restrictions before the end of the year. Reservoir levels are better here along the Wasatch Front, but the Great Salt Lake is nearing its lowest level since 2023, and Lake Powell is still only 33% full. That's why Haskell's urging everyone to limit how much water you're using outside, given it's by far where we use the most water.
We won't have those reservoirs increase until at least, October, November, and then we don't know if we're going to have a great winter next year or not.
Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
At the close, the Dow up by 88 points, ending the day at 44,459. S&P up by about 9 points. The Nasdaq up by 54. That's a little bit more than 0.25%. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
Slowdowns northbound I-15, even though speeds are improving, we still have some delays as you're going through Weber County. It's due to an accident approaching 31st Street in Ogden, and you'll start to see those backups by Hill Air Force Base in Clearfield. Also, a disabled vehicle in traffic. This is going to be in South Jordan on southbound Bangerter Highway. It's going to be after South Jordan Parkway, about 109th South. It's blocking a right lane of travel. Keep an eye out for officers at the scene, but no backups there. UTA is road therapy. Give your car a break and get more U-time. Plan your trip at rideuta.com or on the Transit app. Ricky Meeson, the KSL Traffic Center.
Hot today, but expected to be hotter tomorrow. Today's high 98 up to 100 degrees tomorrow. Then staying in the mid-90s for the next 5 days, and just a slight chance of showers tomorrow. 97 degrees from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Hey, this is Maria Shilaos, and I am here with Blair. He's also a client of Salt Lake City Fat Loss. Thanks for coming in.
Pleasure to be here.
So great to see you. So how much weight have you lost?
I've lost an amazing 52 pounds in just 60 days.
That's incredible. How do you feel?
Oh, I feel great. I have more energy, and the GERD and acid reflux is gone.
Talk about the scale for a minute. Were you surprised at how quickly the number went down?
It was astonishing to me as I'd get on the scale, even in the very beginning when I saw, 2-3 pounds drop off. But I ended up looking forward to getting on the scale to see how much I'd lost in the last day.
Tell me about the biggest benefits you've seen from Salt Lake City fat loss.
I have much more confidence in myself, lots more energy, much more adventurous walks with my dogs.
Thanks so much for sharing another great success story with Salt Lake City fat loss. Learn the secret of losing up to 1 pound of unhealthy fat per day online at slcfatloss.com. slcfatloss.com.
Results may vary.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. Parents in the Alpine School District now have a new way to keep tabs on their child's school bus and get real-time updates right to their phone. It's called Stop Finder, and it's like a GPS tracker for your kid's bus. The Alpine School District just launched the app, which lets parents see the bus route, get notified if it's running late, or know if there's been a last-minute change. David Ludwig is the transportation director for the district, and he tells KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera that the goal is to improve communication between the district and parents.
Go back to our core goals. We're always trying to have good partnerships with parents and community, and part of that is good communication. And along our path of good communication, we've tried out Twitter, we've tried doing phone calls and messenger systems, and so we've really been limited technology because we're a small office and we service nearly 20,000 kids who ride our buses every day. And so that's a big task to undertake. And so it's really been recently where this Stop Finder app has come out and has made it easier for us to communicate in batch with parents, that we're able to unlock that feature for our patrons.
But it hasn't been the easiest thing to roll out. Ludwig says they've had a few challenges to work through.
There's been a couple of hangups. One has been funding, but our school board has recently given us some funding for this. They've made it a priority for us. And when you're trying to pinch pennies and we're staring down the barrel of a district reconfiguration, it's hard to allocate resources, but the school board thought this was a worthwhile thing. And then the other is just student privacy. Anytime you bring in a third-party app, we're very concerned about student privacy. Who has the information for what a kid's name is, where they live, who their parents, all those things that we use to communicate with our people. We're very careful with that information.
The app is free to download, but you'll need an invite from the district to connect to your kid's schedule. Officials say it's all about keeping parents in the loop and kids safer on the road. A new study shows that air pollution can be linked to brain bleeds. The U of U study shows that pollution increases the risk of brain bleeding when a patient suffers from an aneurysm. Assistant Professor of Neurosurgery Robert Rennert tells KSL News Radio's Josue Sanchez that there was already evidence that pollution was linked to strokes, but this research took that science one step farther.
So we looked over a 5-year period at patients who were admitted here at the university for bleeding from aneurysms that had aneurysmal subarachnoid hemorrhage. And we looked to see whether there was a correlation to air pollution levels in the preceding early period, and also looking back further up to 6 months or a year preceding that. We initially were thinking that there would be a shorter term correlation between air pollution levels and risk of bleeding, but we were surprised to find that there was a correlation between increased levels of PM 2.5, this particular type of air pollutant, and aneurysmal bleeding, but there was a lag in that correlation by about 3 to 6 months. So this was the first study to find any sort of link between exposure to air pollution, in particular PM 2.5, and risk of aneurysmal subarachnoid hemorrhage. And interestingly, there was about a 3 to 6 month delay between the peaks of air pollution and the increased incidence of bleeding.
Dr. Renner says, luckily, aneurysms are relatively rare, affecting up to about 6% of the population.
But if they do occur, they can be fatal, or they can cause severe neurologic symptoms in up to 2/3 of patients. So it is something that we really focus on, and often will treat these patients preventatively if they have aneurysms that are worrisome enough. So this was I would categorize as a preliminary study, relatively small. We looked at 70 patients overall, but it was very interesting to us to see that there was a suggestion of this correlation to air pollution exposure and the risk of an aneurysm bleeding if you had one. And we certainly have a few additional steps planned to look at this information in a larger study across multiple institutions to validate it on a larger scale, number one, and then also number two, to look at the mechanism as to how you go from exposure to increased levels of air pollution to actual risk of bleeding. We suspect it's related to long-term inflammatory cascades or changes within them, but that would be the next steps to look at to see exactly how that process is linked.
He says people who smoke or have high blood pressure are more at risk of an aneurysm, so there are things they can do to lower their risks of a brain bleed.
I think more work needs to be done before definitively ascribing behavioral changes related to environmental exposures. But certainly the modifiable things such as smoking and treating high blood pressure, no question, are things that we counsel patients on to try to mitigate.
He says while this is just a preliminary study, it does raise more concern about how air pollution affects public health. Midday with Maria Shilaos continues in just 60 seconds.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does your job require you to be on your feet all day? Teachers, postal carriers, salespeople, and restaurant staff. Many of us need our feet to get us through the day. Hi, this is Mike with the Good Feet store, and I'd like you to hear from Donna. She's a nurse and a real customer of the Good Feet store who wanted to share her story.
Oh, I have to tell you, I have struggled with pain in my feet. I was diagnosed with plantar fasciitis. With the 3-step program, it really fits to your lifestyle. I work in a hospital. I'm a registered nurse, so being on my feet, walking throughout the hospital during the day, I am free from any type of pain. And after working a 12-hour shift, I go home and my feet do not hurt.
Whether you're a nurse or anyone wanting to enjoy work without your feet getting in the way, come see us at the Good Feet store.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Schedule your free test walk at goodfeet.com.
Real Salt Lake players' salaries rank among the lowest in the league. Vice President of Communications of RSL, Trey Fitzgerald, tells KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson the rankings can be a bit misleading because of a couple of key things that have been going on.
One of the misleading factors, I guess, is that those salary lists don't take into consideration acquisition costs, which are obviously a big deal in the soccer world because Real Salt Lake and Major League Soccer operate in a global marketplace. Something called transfer fees, or the buying and selling of players, is a massive economic factor that just simply isn't accounted for in these lists. One of the other items of discussion that I'm sure people will attribute to that low ranking is the recent ownership transaction involving RSL. So on April 18th, the Miller family purchased majority control of Real Salt Lake. So there is a widespread speculation that the January window for Real Salt Lake and the acquisition and paying incoming players certainly wasn't as active as the previous 3 windows.
Fitzgerald says the ranking aside, he believes the future is bright for RSL.
You know, we have a very young, exciting team. Diego Luna, our leading scorer, who is only 21 years old, was the icon for the U.S. men's national team at the recent Gold Cup. They finished in second place, unfortunately, losing in the final to Mexico. But Luna had 3 goals and 2 assists and was just kind of that very exciting, entertaining, game-changing playmaker that American soccer has been lacking. And he calls Real Salt Lake home. He's an all-star. I think our general manager and chief soccer officer, Kurt Schmid, our leadership in Jason Christ and John Kimball, our new ownership led by Miller Sports and Entertainment. I think everybody's excited to see what we can do to bolster the roster here in that upcoming window and put more talent and depth and experience around Diego Luna, Xavier Gozo, who's a homegrown 18-year-old Utah kid that came through our academy who has started 11 straight games at this point.
According to data on MLSplayers.org, RSL paid a total of $13.4 million in salaries. Inter Miami was the top paying team at $46.8 million. Fitzgerald says RSL is usually in the middle of the pack when it comes to salaries. A 16-year-old teen from Spanish Fork, now the youngest person to complete the Wasatch Ultimate Ridge Link-Up. We'll hear his story in just a few minutes. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
Another problem for Ogden drivers. This is a crash southbound Washington Boulevard near 4th North and before 2nd South in the Ogden area. It is blocking right lanes of travel. And then we still have the final cleanup of the crash northbound I-15 approaching 31st Street, Ogden. It's over to the right, but still backing traffic into Clearfield. Fill up your bucket list in Box Elder County. History, recreation, and wildlife, and excellent dining and shopping await you. Learn more at visitboxeldercounty.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
If your lights flicker, breakers trip, or something just doesn't feel safe, or if someone is telling you your electrical panel needs to be replaced and your house needs to be rewired, you need to hear about At Your Service Pros. At Your Service Pros offers full electrical inspections for just $49. You'll get everything checked, your panel, wiring, outlets, grounding, and they'll give you an honest report. If it's safe, they'll tell you, and if there's an issue, you get an explanation that you can understand, and then they'll help you fix it without pressure. Call At Your Service Pros at 801-YOUR-PRO to schedule your $49 electrical inspection. That's 801-YOUR-PRO. This month, At Your Service Pros is giving you a chance to win a free air conditioning system. All you need to do is comment on their YouTube videos. They're also giving you a second opportunity to nominate someone else for a free air conditioning system. Just go to YouTube, search Healthy Water and Air, and watch the AC giveaway video. Subscribe or comment. All you need to do is just say hi.
Respiratory virus season is quickly approaching, meaning we'll see more flu, COVID, and RSV in our community. The good news is vaccines are available that will help prevent these infections and keep people healthy. For flu and COVID, everyone aged 6 months and older are recommended to be vaccinated to help protect ourselves and our families against serious illness. Fall remains the best time to be vaccinated. Respiratory viruses circulate year-round, but peak late fall through winter. Your doctor can recommend which vaccines are best for you and your family.
Brought to you by Intermountain Health and KSL News Radio.
It's time to hit the road and make this your summer of freedom with Motorsportsland's RV summer deals happening right now. Save thousands on the RV you've always wanted and get away in style, comfort, and luxury. Whether you're chasing sunsets or campfire nights, we've got the perfect trailer to get you there. If you're sitting at another dealer to make a deal and suddenly they're adding thousands for freight, prep, or orientation, that's your cue to run away and come to Motorsportsland, where what you see is what you pay. Our prices are real, no hidden charges, no gimmicks, and no pressure. We're a family-owned, local Utah dealership that's been helping people just like you get away for over 55 years. Plus, we offer flexible financing, expert service, and free training with every RV we sell. Adventure's calling, so don't miss your chance. Come in today and let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Motorsportsland.com.
Amanda, we love talking about Utah Community Credit Union, and guess what? They just got news that they saved their members over $40 million in 2024 alone.
And UCCU is opening 4 new branches in the Salt Lake Valley, which means 6 total now. They have 21st South, Taylorsville, Sandy, Magna, Harriman, and Draper.
And to celebrate these new branches, UCCU is offering some amazing opportunities. First of all, $150 cash just for setting up direct deposit with your UCCU account.
They'll give you up to $250 cash just for transferring any existing loan from another institution to UCCU.
And here's the big one, giving away 10 amazing prizes, including, get this, a brand new 2025 Jeep Wrangler.
So you heard that right. A brand new Jeep Wrangler could be yours, and no purchase is necessary. You don't even have to be a member.
Anyone can enter. It's easy. All you've got to do is go to uccu.com and sign up. So Enter to win today.
UCCU.com. Find out more about Utah Community Credit Union, where you're going to love where you bank.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-475-1818. That's 800-475-1818.
I've always gotten tons of UTIs. Cranberry products never worked for me, and I was desperate for a way to be proactive. I'm Jenna Ryan, CEO and founder of Eucora. We've worked with doctors to develop effective urinary tract health products. Just mix a packet of Eucora with water and drink it when you need support, like right after intimacy. Eucora is helping over 100,000 women stay healthy. Ready to join them? Get 30% off at eucora.com/radio. That's UQORA.com/radio.
This is Midday. A 16-year-old Utah County has become the youngest person to complete the Wasatch Ultimate Ridge Link-Up, one of the toughest mountain traverses in the country. Maverick Dustin joined me to talk about his experience. First of all, tell us what it's like to be the youngest person to have ever completed the Wasatch Ultimate Ridge Link-Up.
Oh, I didn't really think that much of it. I just kind of enjoy the outdoors and like getting out there, and I realized a few months into training, I was training super hard this summer that one person under 18 had done it. And I go, well, let's see if this is even possible still. This might be really hard.
I don't think a lot of people realize really what this is. So let's kind of describe it for them. We're talking about 37 miles, 25,300 feet of gain. And oh my goodness. So tell us about that. What is that experience like? That's an incredible hike.
Yeah, it's quite tough. I mean, you start off hiking about 7,000 feet up the first peak, and it's pretty easy terrain, but you're on this ridge line that you could fall either side a couple hundred feet, and it's super rocky, super loose, basically for a long time. And you have to start super early, hike through the night, and hike through the next morning, so no sleeping. But yeah, it's the terrain that's hard. It's lots of climbing, scrambling.
So 37 hours, 30 minutes of hiking, no sleep, just moving forward?
Yeah, just grit and I guess just desire to finish it. It's just a super mental hike.
Did you do this all by yourself? Were you alone?
I had 2 other people hike up the first Ferguson Canyon Trail. So it was a normal trail, but lots of elevation gain. And they basically carried a lot of my water. And then the first section was probably the hardest, most scary. And since I was fresh, no one would be able to keep up with me. So I hiked that alone. They bailed once it got scary. And then I hiked the first for like 6-7 hours alone. And then the rest of the time I had partners switching on and off hiking with me. So
what was the most difficult part of this journey for you?
I've never pulled an all-nighter before, and this is probably the super hard all-nighter that you could do. There's this thing called the Notch that's still full of snow, because most people do this hike in August to September to let the Notch melt. And it's a steep descent into Bell's Canyon. It's just down this scree, but it's full of snow, like basically ice, and it's pretty scary.
There are more than 25 peaks in this hike. I can't even imagine right now hiking one peak. So for me, that's just inconceivable.
Yeah, there's 22, I think, named peaks, a few unnamed peaks, but there's also like so many false summits too, which just kill your mood.
So how did you prepare for this? You said it took a lot of preparation.
Yeah, I've been hiking my whole life. Started early. I didn't really start training super specifically until this summer, where I just started hiking like 50 miles a week up 4 different mountains, and I was just getting my endurance up. And I've been rock climbing for 2 years, so I already had that. I wasn't super scared of the exposure. So, yeah, I've done canyoneering. So just lots of prior experience, I guess.
You mentioned that a lot of it was mental. What did you mean by that?
It's when you're hiking, you're going through highs and lows morale-wise. And when you hit a wall, you really just have to, it's super hard. Well, navigating is super mental. You have to navigate the terrain, find the best path to go for 37 hours, obviously. And to get out of the lows when you hit a wall it's just super hard. And you have to just push yourself and force your brain to just be like your body's able to keep going. You just, convince yourself that you're able to do it. And it's, I don't know, just super hard on your mind, I guess.
When you came back from this incredible hike, what was that key thing that you told your friends that they had to know about your experience?
The key thing was probably I need to find a new passion, but that's probably not true. I'll probably get into more of this stuff. It's really fun. The key thing was, I guess just pushing yourself. I was like, I wouldn't have done without any of them, and motivation.
Was there one, I guess when I come back from something like that, I've never done anything like this, obviously, but there's always that moment of, you wouldn't believe what I ran into here. Was along your way, was there kind of that aha moment, or that, oh my goodness, this is a crazy situation?
No, not really any of those. I had done it all before. I was expecting everything. Like animal-wise, there's not much out there. I do remember there being a lot of butterflies on the AF twins, so that was pretty cool.
What would you like others to take away from your experience?
Now, it's not for everyone, obviously, and it takes a lot of experience of what you have before, and I just hope others will learn that a little bit of grit and passion can help you accomplish goals. I think goals are really important, and I think that more people should try and push themselves. I think a few more young people are able to do it than we're thinking, and I think I might be able to change the standard of what's possible.
Thanks so much for spending a few minutes with me. I appreciate it, and congratulations. What an incredible feat.
Thank you.
All right. Can you imagine hiking more than 37 hours nonstop? I get winded just thinking about it. What an incredible experience. Thanks for joining me for Midday. Jeff Kaplan's off today, but his afternoon news is next with Amanda Dixon.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. It is 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon filling in for Jeff. Our top story this hour. Utah's Department of Corrections is making preparations for death row inmate Ralph Menzies to be executed by firing squad. It's the first time a firing squad will be used in 15 years. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The execution is set for September 5th. The Utah Department of Corrections says it intends to go through with it.
We are prepared to carry out this type of execution through a firing squad. The logistics are just a little bit different on how we locate firing squad members. We're just getting started with that process.
Executive Director Jared Garcia says they will be looking for officers who are mentally and physically prepared to take part in the execution, but it may not be necessary at all. Menzies' attorneys are asking the court to take another look at his competency, claiming he has dementia. A hearing for that claim is scheduled for the 23rd of this month, when a judge will decide if a reassessment is necessary. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
The city of West Jordan is setting the record straight after someone posted a viral video of law enforcement walking down the street. The woman in the video said ICE was raiding the neighborhood. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson is live with what the city is saying now. Heather?
Amanda, that video posted late last week shows a swarm of officers on a West Jordan street, many of them armed.
This is ICE walking down my street. There's got to be 50 of them.
But West Jordan said today those officers were not ICE and this was not immigration related. They say those are law enforcement officers with the U.S. Marshal Service arresting someone who is wanted for murder. The U.S. Marshals confirmed that information but couldn't say more about the case. The city of West Jordan also clarified they are not involved in any immigration actions. Reporting live, Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
A man is in the hospital after police say he was shot in the head in Roy last night. The man was reportedly rushed to the hospital with a gunshot wound and a person was arrested. But that's about all the information we have. No word on the man's condition. Our top national story this hour, President Trump can go ahead with his plan to dismantle the Education Department. The Supreme Court gave the all clear for the Trump administration to lay off nearly 1,400 employees. Meantime, nearly 24 states are suing the Trump administration's Department of Education for withholding over $6 billion in federal funding for education programs. North Carolina Attorney General Jeff Jackson says the consequences could be dire for American students.
This is one of those moments where something really big and potentially really damaging could be getting ready to occur. I'm going to do everything that I can to stop it.
School admins in Utah told KSL earlier this month the cuts would likely impact summer and after-school programs. FBI Deputy Director isn't making any public appearances, and his future is uncertain amid the backlash over the Justice Department's decision not to release any more records related to Jeffrey Epstein. Dan Bongino is a Trump supporter who has been calling for the public release of the files.
It's a big issue. It's obviously the political issue with his base, but also the issue with the internal dynamics between the FBI, DOJ, and the White House. This is more than just a palace intrigue issue behind the scenes. This is the top law enforcement agencies in the country, frankly, feuding.
ABC's Catherine Falder is reporting. The heroic actions of a family member at Silver Lake Flat Reservoir led to his death. KSL News Radio's Simone Cycli has more.
The Utah County Sheriff's Office says Daniel Braga Figueredo grabbed a paddle when he saw his 12-year-old relative drifting further and further out into the Silver Lake Flat Reservoir on an inflatable tube. This happened Saturday. When he got to where the two struggled to right themselves, both ended up in the water. Daniel was last seen lifting the child onto an inflatable device and then disappearing under the water.
That's when 911 was called. Searchers found Figueredo's body later that night. A girls' campground had to be rescued near Zion Tiny Oasis over the weekend. Washington County Sheriff's Office says there were two groups that got separated on Friday. Search and rescue responded around 9:30 p.m. One of the girls had sprained her wrist, and one of the chaperones was having some health issues. Both groups made it down. No one had to be taken to the hospital. As the number of Utahns continues to grow, so does the need to provide medical care. McCall Rowley, the Vice President of Finance for Intermountain Health, says that not all care is created equal.
What we're seeing is there's a couple areas that are needing higher care and growth. One is primary care, and then also increased cancer care services.
Rowley told Midday with Maria that they are investing in new facilities to meet the growing need, including new cancer centers in Saratoga Springs and Park City and a primary care clinic near St. George. KSL News Time now is 3:05. First look traffic, and hello, Ricky Meese.
Hello there, Amanda. Welcome to the light side.
Thank you.
It's not dark out. This must be a funny feeling for you.
It is very strange.
Well, we are very grateful to have you. Northbound traffic, I-15, already heavy and slow from an earlier accident near 31st Street, but you've got delays that linger. Clearfield to Riverdale Road. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
And coming up, Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News here on KSL News Radio.
Hey, gang, it's Big Jim Smith. I am now retired, and I'm a full-time radio listener, and I'm glad I am. I had a unique situation of not